all the things that can happen unexpectedly on vacation. So before you travel, pack the Pepto. Pepto-Bismol.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Progressive presents 10 things on a food truck owner's to-do list that are harder than getting a commercial auto insurance quote. Stocking the fridge, prepping the stations, finding employees that get along well, finding employees that actually do their job. Looking at you, Gary. Balancing the books, balancing the flavors, having a fresh menu and fresh produce and fresh meat, but never a fresh mouth. But the easiest thing on a small business owner's to-do list? Seeing if you can save on commercial auto insurance. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage subject to policy terms and conditions.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Our temperatures are going to be making a slow slide going through the afternoon, and we'll get down to about 49 degrees by sunset. Tonight, partly to mostly cloudy. It's windy, it's cold, 38. Wednesday, very chilly day. Some wind gust on Wednesday of 45 miles per hour and the chance of a couple of showers. A really cold feeling, 48. Thursday, partly to mostly sunny and 55. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Mike Carter here of Carter Law Offices. You know, as an attorney, I make my way across the great state of Missouri on a pretty regular basis. And from the rivers to the lakes and the Ozark Mountains, it's really just a pleasure to travel across the great state of Missouri. And, you know, not to mention, we have the best sports team and the best cities and the friendliest small towns in America, it seems like. And Carter Law Offices wants to make sure Missouri's story gets out far and wide about our excellent business climate, our exceptional workforce. You'll hear more from me soon, Mike Carter.
Visit MikeCarter.com to see Mike's interviews with all of Missouri's elected leaders.
Mike Carter here of Carter Law Offices. You know, as an attorney, I make my way across the great state of Missouri on a pretty regular basis. And from the rivers to the lakes and the Ozark Mountains and the richest farmland around, it's really just a pleasure to travel across the great state of Missouri. And, you know, not to mention, we have the best sports team and the best cities and the friendliest small towns in America, it seems like. And Carter Law Offices wants to make sure Missouri's story gets out far and wide about our excellent business climate, our exceptional workforce. You'll hear more from me soon, Mike Carter.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Gain peace of mind that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They give all their clients attentive personal service, even bring toys for the kids of the household. It's a family-owned and operated business for 25 plus years. They make sure you make the right choice for your home. So if you have carpets or hard floors, you're going to be happy for years to come. 3 convenient locations in St. Charles County, 116 Main Street, in Old Town St. Peters at Mid-Rivers and Highway 70, in West County on Olive, and the store in Darden Prairie. Michael's Flooring Outlet, igotfloor.com.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's corporate cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now, get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/free. Ramp.com/free. RAMP.com/free.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
It's kind of like one is old and effective and compassionate, has a heart, and really cares about people. And one is old and has been charged with 91 felonies.
Well, there's Hillary Clinton, and I still say this when she's out there talking about Joe Biden. I think she hates Joe Biden. I think the only person she hates more than Joe Biden is probably Donald Trump. Why? Because Joe Biden beat Donald Trump, and she did not. She was on with Jimmy Fallon. When was this, last week? Yesterday?
Yesterday, I think.
Are they that... Is the entertainment business that boring that they're like, who can we get? I don't know. Try Hillary again. She's not doing anything.
Yeah, okay.
I mean...
Okay, interesting.
I don't understand why this is even a hard choice, really. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
But we have to go through the election, and hopefully people will realize what's at stake, because it's an existential question. What kind of country we're going to have, what kind of democracy we're going to have. And people who blow that off are not paying attention, because it's not like Trump, his enablers, his empowerers, his allies are not telling us what they want to do. I mean, they're pretty clear about what kind of country they want.
Yeah.
Yeah, a better one. I mean, you could sum it up that way. Just a better one. I don't understand the appeal for Hillary Clinton to be a guest on Jimmy Fallon's show, but I'm not really a late night person. At least I watch Gutfeld sometimes. But Hillary Clinton on Jimmy Fallon trying to make the case. Same SSD, as they say. Same stuff, different day from Hillary Clinton. Our YouTube live chat poll for today is, will Trump win non-swing blue states? So you got to think about that for a second. Will Trump win non-swing blue states? There are a handful of swing states that I think people generally will say: Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. That's 5 of them. Some people will throw in Nevada. You think there's any I'm missing there, Brad?
No.
Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And I add Nevada in, personally.
Yeah, I think Nevada's a swing state. I don't think Minnesota's a swing state, so those would be the only 2 that would be peaking in my brain.
Mm-hmm. Well, those states are, generally speaking, you'll hear a lot of people who are pollsters or people who are active in the politics of chasing votes between now and November 5th, I believe, is Election Day. Is that right? November 5th. And the votes in those states are going to matter. So you have Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. I consider Arizona and Georgia to be better shots for Republicans.
For sure.
Michigan, better shot for Democrats.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, I would think Pennsylvania would be more left.
Yeah.
But somehow or another, it's a swing state, and it's got 19 electoral votes. So if you're watching us on the Annie Fry YouTube channel right now, I put up the 270 to win map, and it's showing where the electoral votes are right now based on the polls that are out there, which is a very interesting thing to look at. So I encourage you to join us and talk this out, because I heard, and Dave Rubin, one of the reasons why I'm bringing this up is because Dave Rubin is going to be on with us at 125. Very well listened to podcaster, voice for conservatism, lives in Florida now, left California, was a Democrat, became a Republican. Very good, in my opinion, advocate for common sense republicanism or conservatism. I'll maybe ask him that question when we talk to him. He's recently been in Israel. He is a gay man and looks at the transgender. Like, to think of a gay man. He's Jewish, isn't he?
Yes.
He's a Jewish gay man and sees what the Biden administration is doing when he takes Easter and turns it into Transgender Visibility Day. That's how obvious this is. So we're going to talk to Dave Rubin about this later, but he was on the Patrick Bet-David podcast, and they were throwing out there the ridiculousness that exists around crime in New York, specifically in New York City. And I think Patrick Bet-David kind of throws out there, can Trump win New York? And as they're talking about it, I don't think that the conclusion was, yes, New York is absolutely in play. But the conversation did lead to, why wouldn't he win New York? Like, if you look at all of the facts that present themselves, who in New York is like, this is great. This is exactly how we hoped it would go. To be taken over by illegals and to be pushed out of our schools and our community centers and to have our tax dollars come out of our paycheck and go in the pockets of these people who are flooding the city to the extent they have no room any longer. Living on the streets, some of these people who have flooded in the streets, committing crimes, getting arrested, getting let go because that's the policy in New York City, walking out after being let go with two birds flying high in the air for everybody to see, and police officers in routine traffic stops getting shot in the gut where a family loses their husband and their father to a 1-year-old baby, less than 1-year-old baby. You guys talk about the officer's funeral at all yesterday when I wasn't here?
No, we didn't talk a lot about it, if any at all.
Governor Hochul wanted to be there. She got told to leave. This is amazing, folks. Letitia James wanted to speak. She requested to speak at the funeral, and they were like, absolutely not. There is a growing, solidified contingency of people in New York who are not red and blue in the common sense, but they are blue. They back the blue. They believe that a civilized society must adhere and respect law and order. The Democrats out of Washington, D.C. and through the justice system in New York have completely eradicated the idea of law, the being able to take law and applying it to everybody equally in the state of New York. We're seeing with Donald Trump the fact that they are not interested in doing that. There is no question in my mind and likely yours, even if you are an anti-Trumper, why what is taking place legally against Donald Trump is making its path through New York. Forget the law. And order. There is no order in New York City right now. Would you go ride the subway in New York City right now, especially as a tourist, as an outsider? I mean, when you consume story after story of the people who are the one story that I heard late last week didn't get as much play as a lot of the other ones was the story about a mentally impaired individual who shoved that guy in front of the train. It killed him. This guy has been in and out because of his mental state many times, and he's out there roaming loose, just perfectly timed shoving someone in front of a moving train and killed him. There are murders on the train. I was just listening to Fox News a little bit, and some of the women who ride the subway, one of them said, I am that person who was like, no, you leave her alone. You keep your hands. And it was a woman speaking. She goes, I keep my mouth shut. And it had to train myself to keep my mouth shut in the midst of seeing something that's going on that needs to be stopped. You can't speak up in New York any longer because it'll come after you. And there's no consequence. I guess unless you're Daniel Penny. That's how upside down this is. It's not just a matter of we're not prosecuting crimes. We are finding people in New York to prosecute. We are finding money in New York to go after people. And the bottom line is always the political outcome. That is the direction that the deep, deep blue New York state, when you're looking at the governor and the attorney general, and city, when you're looking at people like Alvin Bragg, in Manhattan, when you're looking at what they're willing to do when their constituents entrust the law in their hands. They've bastardized the whole system. And they're using it against political enemies, and they are not using it against actual criminals. There are victims that exist every single day, and we turn a blind eye to those victims because we're too busy in our political pursuits, investing tax dollars and trying to prosecute people who are big, scary orange men. Trying to drive them out of the state. And they have tunnel vision. They think that that's a righteous cause for themselves personally, for the party in whole. And then you take a trip back to Washington, D.C., where really you would think that the top of the Democrat policies would come from the highest ranking Democrat in our country, and that would be the President of the United States. The idea that the President of the United States would take Easter Sunday and make sure that everybody understands that Easter Sunday will be known as a transgender day of visibility. This crap about, oh, it's March 31st every year. Not until Joe Biden got in office. And if you paid attention to other events that existed around Easter in the White House, do you know that they have an art contest at the White House? Do you know that during the art contest, they said, do not submit religious symbols in your art contest? This coupled with the idea of eradicating religion on Easter. Listen, the Easter Bunny, whatevs. Easter is about Jesus' resurrection. Christmas is a commercialized holiday in many cases where there are a lot of people who recognize it as the day of at least recognition of Christ's birth. But it is in existence in a huge way, commercially and secularly. Easter doesn't really have an application outside of Jesus' resurrection. You don't have to be a Christian to acknowledge that. There are lots of holidays that my Jewish friends celebrate that I acknowledge and will send a kind word to my Jewish friends in the event that there is a holiday that I don't recognize. I will, out of respect and love for those people, recognize it with them or acknowledge it with them. That doesn't mean I celebrate it, but it sure as heck doesn't mean I desecrate it. Because I try to be a decent human being, and I would never use that as a political point to try to prove something to somebody else. But not this administration. This president and his administration, whether he says he knows about it or not, because, folks, if he wants to come out and say he didn't do that, he didn't do the transgender day of visibility thing, he's admitting or he's saying one of two things, that he's a liar or that he doesn't know what's going on. Because we all know that it happened. Everywhere you look, this Democrat Party is looking to strip Christianity and religion out of the societal norm of our culture, even when it's something that people who don't necessarily participate in it as an activist Christian, maybe, that you were in church on Sunday, people still acknowledge what Easter is. They're taking it away. And they're not taking it away because they hate religion. They just need you to worship the appropriate God. Because the only way that they can manage what you get to do, what rights you have, what rights you don't have anymore, what rights they can take away, is if they themselves in government are your God. If you worship at the altar of government, then they get to become the deity that controls what you do, what you have, when you have it, if you get it, and you'll like it. Because you'll worship at the same altar that they do. The difference is that the people in charge, they themselves are their own God. That's where all of this stuff gets stripped out. That's why it's so important for a day like Easter to get put in its proper place. And I have heard from multiple people who are either completely non-practicing Christians or not Christians at all, who are like, the cojones on this guy to do that on this day. It is outrageous. You should be outraged by it. But you also need to keep your eye on the ball and understand what they're doing. They're trying to take your Christian faith and deprioritize it because they have something that's more important to put in its place. Government. It sounds crazy, but communism has been trying to do it for quite some time. Why would they stop now? When it comes to law and order and the understanding of who are the criminals, who are the victims, how do we protect the victims, how do we work to create less victims in our society, Illinois is not the place to go to take notes on how to manage that. State Senator Jason Plummer is going to be in studio with us here when we come back. And he's been making the rounds, and he sent out a really great tweet thread. I'm going to go and retweet it again right now so you can go read through it. But Jason Plummer of right across the river, his district is right across the river, has been very close to what's been going on with this prison review board. And we're going to ask him the details on what took place when this 11-year-old boy lost his life at the hands of Cressetti Brand, less than 24 hours after he'd been let out of prison. J.B. Pritzker's got a lot of excuses for it. We'll see what Jason Plummer has to say when we come back. Don't go away.
Let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer. let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
There will be an answer, let it be.
Air Comfort Service is thinking about you right now because it's been warm and then it gets rainy and then it gets cool and you're going all over the place with the temperature in your home. If your air conditioner isn't doing what it's supposed to, especially if you're a place of business and now it's uncomfortable to be in there and working and the air conditioner has not kicked in this year the way it's supposed to, reach out to Air Comfort Service and talk to them about how they can help you with any commercial repairs that you might have. Call Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. You get a free second opinion on a heat exchanger or compressor repairs. They are there to make sure that the process is smooth, that the process is something you can have confidence in, and you can trust the people at Air Comfort Service. I've had them in my own home, of course, for HVAC replacements, water heater replacement, and AeroSeal duct seal, taking care of the ventilation in my house to make sure it distributes air correctly. I rely on them and I trust them to give me the right information and the options so that what I choose, I feel is a good investment with my money. And whether it's your place of business or your home, Air Comfort Service will do the same thing for you. 314-513-0091, 314-513-0091, online at aircomfortservice.com.
Have you scheduled your maintenance for your air conditioner for the summer to assure you and your loved ones that you will have cooling this year? If you have not, definitely do it. This is a great time to start while you're listening to me right now instead of calling me when it's 100 degrees outside and your air conditioner is not working or it goes down and you say, you know, I forgot to call Bart. It's really affordable. I mean, considering what, as far as groceries, it's about the cost of a loaf of bread, $89. So call me. It's Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois, and the only number, 314-293-2600. Again, 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com.
This is Chad Clayman with ClaymanGroup.com, KLAMEN Group.com, where we buy property in as-is condition. Are you wanting to sell your property, but you don't want to deal with the stress? Many times people sell to us because they want to be a less stressed seller and they want to simplify their solution. We can provide a flexible closing date on your sale, and we can make it easy to sell your property. We can guarantee we'll give you our best offer possible to make a win-win situation. If you have a house you want to sell, simplify your sale, KLAMEN Group.com.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
When is your next company meeting? Let Grill Master Tony take care of the cooking, and you might be in the running for Employee of the Month. You will love what Tony Stone is doing. Mark Cox here. He can do a lunch buffet for you, or he can deliver box lunches with meat and sides and cookies in there, signature brisket, pulled pork, pulled chicken. His baby back ribs are outstanding, and you can order it all online right now at grillmastertony.com.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
Don't miss the Mark Cox Morning Show's Spring Bourbon Fling at Clayton White House. Join me and Kim April 18th from 5:30 to 8. We'll sample New Riff, Old Dominic, Oak and Eden, and more. Get your tickets now before they're gone at 971talk.com/events.
listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
This one is a lie. Sat around laughing and watched the last one die. Now look into the sky.
I think that the changes that are necessary here are evident in the fact that the panel didn't take into consideration enough the domestic violence history of this particular prisoner, and the fact that there were reports by the victim of that person being knocking on her door, being around her apartment building, etc. And so one thing that we've decided to do is to make sure that we enhance the domestic violence training that all PRB members get, including all the ones that are there now, and of course any new ones that are proposed, to make sure that this never happens again.
Yeah, we need to make sure it never happens again. I wish we would have made sure it didn't happen in the first place. That's Governor J.B. Pritzker talking about Cressetti Brand, who murdered this 11-year-old boy less than 24 hours after being let out of prison. We've got Illinois State Senator Jason Plummer in here with the 55th district. That's your new district, right?
Yes.
Everybody's changed. I got to keep up, Jason. I want to give you the opportunity to set the table so that people understand, especially from your position, because you were watching the Prison Review Board and have been for some time. What took place with this 11-year-old boy and this criminal Brand in mid-March?
Well, let me respond to what the governor just said, and then let me break it down a little bit, because what I hear him saying is the members of the Prisoner Review Board, or the panel that oversaw this particular case, didn't take everything into consideration. They didn't do a good job, and now they've kind of been forced, or at least one of them has been forced to resign.
So the problem isn't the system, it was the people.
Well, so he wants to say they didn't do this. Okay, well, let's take it down a little bit further. Who put them in that position? You did, J.B. Pritzker. And the one that resigned in particular is someone that I've literally been talking about for 3 years, being unqualified, having cast dangerous votes, not performing well in committee. Frankly, she shouldn't have been there. She was there because J.B. Pritzker kept her there, and now this has happened. It's the evidence was there. If we would have had qualified people, in that position, I don't believe this, supposed perpetrator would have been let out.
So I think that people, the story in and of itself is tragic, and I think it's important to take it back, kind of like you were saying, to understand how these systems are set up to work.
Sure.
Because maybe we weren't paying enough attention, but I didn't see stories like this before J.B. Pritzker was the governor. Is this directly related to the Safety Act? Is this a core policy of J.B. Pritzker? Is it the Democrats in Springfield? What's the process for someone like Cressetti Brand to be? He was supposed to be serving 16 years for home invasion and aggravated assault. Looks like he went back to his old ways there, which now includes murder. Initially paroled in October 2023, put back in prison in February of this year. What's the process here?
So I'm the Republican spokesman on a committee called the Executive Appointments Committee, and all of the governor's appointees, agency heads, boards, commissions, all throughout the state flow through that committee, or at least they're supposed to. So we're talking about hundreds of people a year. Specifically when it comes to the Prisoner Review Board, I think you hit the nail on the head. This is part of philosophy, and the governor is very far left when it comes to criminal justice, when it comes to releasing people. He is very antagonistic towards our law enforcement. It's made the streets of Illinois dangerous. Crime is out of control. The Prisoner Review Board is made up of 15 people that the governor appoints. Within 60 days of being appointed, they're supposed to appear before my committee so that we can provide a check and balance and make sure that they're qualified. And the Senate, votes to confirm or not to confirm these people. The governor's appointees over the last 3 or 4 years have been so problematic that he has avoided them to the best of his ability. He's avoided having them appear before the Senate. So the 60-day clock, right? It would get to day 58, day 59. He would withdraw their appointment. And then the next week he would reappoint them and claim that that starts the clock all over again. So we literally have had people avoiding the Senate and serve. And by the way, as soon as they're appointed, they start casting votes. So these people have
So
been
you're appointed, and then you have 60 days to get approved by the Senate.
correct. But before you're even approved by the Senate, you start serving.
That's insane.
So, so we've had these people who are supposed to be approved by the Senate within 60 days that have been serving, that served for months and in some instances years without being approved by the Senate. And we tried to raise this issue numerous times, and the governor just hasn't listened. One last thing I'll lead you with is what really raised the flag on this was in 2020, we saw some really notorious murders released, and we started digging into the numbers. And if you look at Governor Blagojevich, Governor Quinn, Governor Rauner, Republicans and Democrats, the PRB was pretty consistent. It wasn't until J.B. Pritzker came into office that the spike occurred in these violent criminals being released, and that's because he has politicized the PRB.
Are there people on the committee that didn't want Crissetti Brand to be released?
Well, we're still waiting for, you mean on the prisoner review board?
Yes.
So we're waiting to see the details of this case. One thing that they've done is they've changed the process so that instead of all 15 people voting, the chairman can appoint 3-person panels, and just those panels can cast the votes.
Does the chairman pick the panel?
Yes, that's my understanding. And so what we've had here, our understanding is this one particular person who resigned, she did the hearing with Crissetti Brand. Then she wrote up her proposal and I guess provided that to the other members of the 3-person panel, which then my understanding is, again, this isn't fully clear yet, but my understanding is then all 3 of them voted to release this gentleman, who, like you said, had been in prison. I think he was sentenced to 16 years, had served less than half of that, had been paroled last fall, violated his parole, was put back in, and J.B. Pritzker's prisoner review board said, hey, you know what? Let's let him out again.
We're speaking with Illinois State Senator Jason Plummer. It's just unbelievable. Like now I live in Southern Illinois. It's it's different than Chicago. I work in St. Louis every day. I know how it goes here. There's a lot of similarities in how crime and victims and criminals are treated in these two things. But why would you, how do you feel safe in J.B. Pritzker's Illinois if not just, we can see with the fruit of his labor here. You can see the outcome of his policies, but also getting into the weeds and digging a little bit deeper here, the really active sidestepping of actual representation of people who are elected so that the government is as close to the people as it possibly can. If there is a nook or a cranny that he can slip through to circumvent the system to get the outcome he wants, how can he possibly say that this isn't the outcome he wanted?
100%. And, I've been working on this issue for 4 years, so I could talk with you for 10 hours about this. I'm a little hesitant to get into all the weeds because at some point you worry about credibility. But when I tell your listeners really some of the stuff that's occurred, to get into J.B. Pritzker's mind, to understand how far left he is, this 15-person prisoner review board, he appointed to the prisoner review board, which by the way they get paid nearly $100,000. But he appointed to the prisoner review board a convicted double murderer. He appointed to the prisoner review board the godmother to Barack Obama's daughters, right? He's appointed to this prisoner review board people that under no rational circumstance can you imagine, being qualified or being acceptable to serve on this board. The convicted double murderer, one of the first people he voted in favor of releasing was a convicted cop killer that he served in prison with. Okay, you cannot make this stuff up, and you try to explain this to, our constituents. You try to talk to the media in Illinois about this, and it's kind of hard to get it through folks' mind, like how far left this governor is when it comes to criminal justice.
I try to dig deep and come up with questions that would make it make sense. Like, I don't agree with it, but this is how. Let's say I had a different worldview or a different set of circumstances that I was brought up in, that I would go, well, I see where they're coming from, but they're very wrong about it. I can't make that happen in my brain.
I kind of say that all the time. Sometimes you think, well, I think I think this tax should be 4%, and the Democrats think it should be 8%. And we're in the super minority, so if we can get it to 5 or 6, that's kind of a
the win
win.
you can get.
That's kind of the win, right? And so you do try to understand where people were coming from when it comes to this governor. From a public policy standpoint, there's no defense. So if it's not a public policy thing, what is it? And it's clear. And I get beat up, when I say this on TV in Chicago, but I've said it on TV in Chicago. I'll say it on the radio in St. Louis. The governor doesn't care about Illinois, okay? He cares about becoming president of the United States. That is his goal. He is using the people of Illinois as a stepping stone. And so everything he does, Prisoner Review Board, the budget, tax policy, you name it, everything he does is done through a political lens. And that political lens isn't about what's in the best interest of the people of Illinois in 10 or 20 years. It's how do I get to Washington, D.C.? And, you mark my words, 10 years from now, you'll be living in Illinois, I'll be living in Illinois, other people will be living in Illinois, dealing with the consequences of this governor's wild policies. He's either going to be in D.C. or more likely, he's going to be on a beach in Ron DeSantis' Florida, living under better public policy than what he's putting on the people of Illinois. Because this governor, his long-term focus is not the state of Illinois.
Well, it sounds like what you're saying is his aspirations are not the best for Illinois. It's the best for J.B. Pritzker. But J.B. Pritzker thinks that you being on the Annie Fry show talking about this is really you playing politics.
Well, the more that people politicize the position, the less likely it is that someone would want to serve in it. And as you know, there have been people in the General Assembly, typically the opposite party, who have politicized this. So it makes it more difficult. But we have not, this has been a very short period of time. I think we're talking about 5 work days so far since the resignations, the two. And so obviously we're contemplating that we need to make nominations to those positions, but we don't have any decisions yet.
Senator Plummer, J.B. Pritzker, governor of the state of Illinois, says shame on you for trying to make this a political collateral.
Yeah. Well, serving on the executive appointments committee, right? Like I said before, hundreds of people come through there a year. I think any senator that's watched our work on the Prisoner Review Board will say we've been very even-handed. We've not been political. I believe that the governor has the right to appoint the people that he wants to a large degree to all of these various positions. Our job is to make sure they're qualified and to provide a check and balance. I've passed through the committee numerous people I don't agree with politically, but I believe that they were qualified to do job XYZ. The only time that we've made a beef on the Prisoner Review Board is when they've brought before us people like the godmother to Barack Obama's daughters, who was completely disinterested in the board, couldn't answer any questions, wouldn't respond to FOIAs. And literally, I think she voted to release every murderer that I saw appear before her, right? The person that was involved in releasing Chrisetti Brand, right? She finally appeared before committee. It was a disastrous appearance. She cast numerous troublesome votes, couldn't answer some basic questions, didn't have a background in law enforcement or, the judiciary or legal, shouldn't have been on the board, was unqualified. I talked about it for 3 years. So we've sent letters to the governor. My inbox is full of people saying, hey, I have this background. I'm qualified. I'd be happy to do it. We have gone out of our way not to make this a political issue because I don't think public safety is a political issue. Our issue is a governor who's forcing his far left philosophy onto a board that has a significant impact on the lives of Illinoisans. We're trying not to make this political, but when we've brought this up for 3 years, the governor's called us carnival barkers. He said we're talking about Facebook fakery. He just calls people's names. He makes up stories about politics. I don't think Jaden Perkins' death is Facebook fakery. I don't think because we're raising legitimate issues that we're carnival barkers. I care about the communities I represent, and J.B. Pritzker makes them more dangerous.
Have they made the changes they need to make with this board to ensure that this doesn't happen again?
Oh, absolutely not. You've heard the governor. He wants to talk about domestic violence training for members of the PRB. I would say, hey, if you're appointing qualified people, they already know about domestic violence. the Senate I've had legislation languishing in the Senate for 2.5 years trying to address some of these issues about the way he's manipulated the system, people serving without being confirmed, and so forth. Senate Republicans have rolled out legislation to raise the bar in terms of qualifications. We've rolled out significant legislation that I think would make the process better. It would make it less political. And this governor, we'll see if he works with us on it. He has every opportunity to do so.
No governor term limits in the state of Illinois, correct?
Right, correct.
Do you think he runs in 2 years?
I think he does. I think we all know he has his eye on the prize. And I think, I was on an interview a couple weeks ago about a separate matter, and they asked, what I thought the legislation or the legislature would look like this spring, considering it's election year. They said generally things get a little moderated because people are worried. I said, typically, yes, but I don't think we're going to moderate in Illinois because 2024 and 2026 isn't what matters in this governor's eyes, right? He's shooting for 2028, and he really, really, really is going to do everything he can to position himself in a primary. And the people of Illinois are going to have to deal with that unless we are able to defeat him in a couple of years.
Last question. The DNC is bringing their convention to Chicago. They're coming to the state of Illinois. That's how comfortable they are in the blue state of Illinois. I mean, you see the same stories I do about a lot of black individuals in Chicago screaming at meetings, at community meetings that they're having, like, you're not listening to us, you're funding the illegal immigrants who are coming here, and you're taking our taxpayer dollars away from the needs and resources we have. Do you think that when the Democrat Party assessed Chicago as a Democrat stronghold when they scheduled the convention to be there, has anything shifted between then and when this convention will happen in the summer?
Well, I know a lot of Democrats are concerned about what the optics could end up being on this. I think you're going to see identification demanded. You're going to see walls built. You're going to see everything that they say is bad. You're going to see built in Chicago to protect this convention from the mayhem that their public policy has caused in the city of Chicago. I can't imagine a better background for the Democrat National Committee than Chicago, where kids, some of the most vulnerable children in the state, aren't getting the education they deserve, even though we're spending buku dollars to educate them. Crime is out of control. The migrant crisis, which is bad in a lot of places, but it's particularly bad in Illinois because J.B. Pritzker's invited them to Illinois with open arms. It's going to be a real disaster, I'm afraid. And that's unfortunate because you and I know Illinois is a great state that has a lot to offer, but public policy has really put us in a bad spot.
It has. It is still worth fighting for, though. I'm grateful, State Senator Jason Plummer, that you are still fighting for it. People ask me all the time why I'm there, and I know that you have family there, and I have family there. Our kids have our grandparents there, and it's worth fighting to give the state, the land of Lincoln, its due, and try to get it back to some sense of normalcy. And I know you're doing that in Springfield all the time.
I appreciate that. If we're not fighting in Illinois, they're going to be focused on places like Jefferson City. And, we got to hold the line in Illinois and show folks why we cannot allow this philosophy to expand.
Amen. Illinois State Senator Jason Plummer, keep fighting. Keep us updated on your efforts here with the Prison Review Board. I'm glad that your voice is being heard across the country, but especially here on the Andy Fry Show. Let's take a quick break. Wiggins America. We come back.
This is the Andy Fry Show. Follow Andy on Twitter @AndyFryShow.
Traffic law counselors is where we go when the police hassle us. Go to 45bucks.com.
This is Mike Carter, founder of 45bucks.com, or as you know it, Traffic Law Counselors. And right now, around tax time, we know folks are taking care of issues that they may have been putting off for a while. Maybe a driving while suspended or a warrant, things that you may have been worrying about for a little while. And we specialize in keeping folks' records clean. They come to us on a Monday, they can't drive, and by the end of that week on a Friday, we've got them back in the driver's seat driving legally. And that's very gratifying. And God forbid you're wrestling with something like a DWI, you can go to DWISTL.com. We got 10 paralegals and attorneys that are working on those cases nonstop and depositions, trials, hearings, and we can put that to work for you as well. In fact, it's the enduring success of traffic law counselors that has enabled us to be the preeminent DWI attorneys in St. Louis at DWISTL.com. So now you know, if you have a traffic matter, it's $45bucks.com. If you've got a DWI issue, it's DWISTL.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
We see them every day. People driving using their phones. There's a sneak-a-peeker or the fast scroller who can quickly become the fender bender. The got-a-ticketer or the driver who killed someone. Put the phone away or pay. Paid for by NHTSA.
Imagine your team always looking and feeling their best in high-performance technical workwear. Cintas can make it happen. They have garments for almost every job imaginable. And with the Cintas Workwear program, you get freshly laundered garments delivered every week for everyone on your team. Great garments without the bother of laundry. That's a real perk for employees. Find out how Cintas can boost team image and morale. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
We see them every day. People driving using their phones. The sneak-a-peeker or the fast scroller who can quickly become the fender benderer, the got-a-ticketer, or the driver who killed someone. Put the phone away or pay. Paid for by NHTSA.
If you're a vehicle mechanic, this 314 day, let Metro Transit fix you up with a $5,000 bonus. Come to our first ever Thursday night mechanics hiring event this 314 at our Brentwood Boulevard Metro bus facility from 6 to 9 p.m. The work at MetroSTL.com hiring team will be there to talk careers with mechanics ready for better pay, real benefits, plus a tool allowance to go along with that $5K hiring bonus.
The Diamond Shop celebrating April, and I'm excited to tell you about the extra specials that they have going on in Clayton or online at thediamondshop.net. The Spring Fling continues with 40% off all color stone jewelry, 30% off all in-stock jewelry, and this is why I'm telling you, just become a VIP online. It's so simple to do it, and you're going to save an extra 10% with their VIP special. What you just got to do is open your computer right now. You're on lunch break. Do this. It's easy. It's free. You're going to save extra money. Thediamondshop.net and sign up to be a VIP because you're going to get access to specials like the extra 10% off that you're going to save now. Go into the Diamond Shop and look for something special for yourself to acknowledge or commemorate some sort of special event. It was, 6 Aprils ago, my husband bought me a beautiful set of pearls for my birthday and for the beginning of this weekday show that we got here. He went to the Diamond Shop to commemorate that event, and I hold those pearls very, very dear. They're beautiful, and they're from the Diamond Shop, so I know that they are wonderful. If you're interested in buying something and saving, enjoy spring at the Diamond Shop and save extra. TheDiamondShop.net.
More good news for Frederick Roofing, voted best roofing company by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
314-645-2000.
How do you define a blue state? That's central to the poll question today. Will Trump win non-swing blue states? Yes or no? That's the Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll. Let us know what you think. And, of course, leave a comment as to why you think what you think. 12:50 right now. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
You found 97.1 FM Talk, where we ask questions, even when the legacy media won't. Especially when the legacy media won't.
St. Louis is home for conservative talk.
97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
So make it one for my baby and one more for the road.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Who's not smiling right now? We have to do the palate cleanser after we talk about Illinois.
Who is that? Bing Crosby?
Yeah. Early days.
He sounds like Donald Duck.
I know. Kind of think that maybe Donald Duck ripped him off.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
Who came first, Bing Crosby or Donald Duck?
As far as birth, ooh man, that's a good question. I was gonna say clearly Donald Duck, but Bing Crosby may have been born before Donald Duck.
In the movie White Christmas, when at the very end, where have you seen it? White Christmas.
It's been a long time, but I think
At the end, they're on the stage and they're going to sing I'm Dreaming of White Christmas, Everyone's in Red. And he's like, give me a dough. And the little boys are like, no. And he goes, oh, those were the days. Maybe that's what he sounded like.
Okay, yeah. This was prepubescent.
Yeah, I'm
Bing
going to
Crosby.
punt Wiggins America to the next segment. Because
That's fine.
I want to give you your due. We
Thank
went
you.
along with Jason Plummer. This story about that 11-year-old boy has really made me mad. Like, I am super annoyed on a daily basis by the stupidity that flows out of pretty much wherever J.B. Pritzker goes, which I guess is just Chicago. But Illinois, when you implement the Safety Act, when you implement, listening to him explain the people who this governor and these Democrats are putting on these committees, how they get there, and knowing the policies of the Safety Act and the no cash bail and all of that stuff, it's like, you know where it's going and you fear it, but when you're just talking about it and hasn't materialized yet, it does sound political. And then there's an 11-year-old boy who's dead. And J.B. Pritzker's like, well, my counterparts, usually on the other side of the aisle, want to politicize this. There are like 5 Republicans in government in Illinois. And those 5 Republicans are the problem? Give me a freaking break.
Yeah, who in their right mind thinks that Republicans are the problem in Illinois? I mean, you're talking about a state that is super majorities Democrats. They can do literally anything they want. So any problem that is because of public policy is just because of Democrats, because they could fix it like that.
And everybody, the people who I talk to, not just Jason Plummer, who was just on the show and talking to us about the Prison Review Board and his responsibility of overseeing those types of committee appointments and everything. But the people who I talk to that understand the operation of J.B. Pritzker, they all say the same thing. He is going to be president. He's going to try to be president come hell or high water. How is he going to get elected?
I don't know. I mean, it's just like the current president. If you're running on a record, you have nothing. You have absolutely nothing to run on. So I guess the best thing that could happen for J.B. Pritzker would be that Joe Biden could win, because that would be a roadmap for J.B. Pritzker.
They're running hard to the left. What Pritzker is going to point to is like, hey, look at how I reformed prison bail. Look how I banned assault rifles. Look at how I changed all these things. All this stuff. I made Illinois a sanctuary state for abortion. He's going to run on the stuff that is very appealing to the extreme left, hoping that the extreme left and the disdain that people have for Republicans is going to be enough to win.
And when I really, I don't know if appreciate, but Jason Plummer I asked him about the DNC. Like when the DNC is coming to Chicago, I would assume that Chicago felt like a more comfy, cozy place when they scheduled it to be in Chicago, and Chicago won the bid to have the Democrat convention this summer, than it will maybe this coming summer. But he made a great point. They're going to put walls up to keep people out. They're going to have extra security. They're going to make people show identification to get in the building. Rules for thee, but not for me. And you can't look anywhere with high-profile Democrats. Cori freaking Bush missed tens of thousands of dollars paid for extra security that she ends up actually marrying. Nobody cares. These people need security. Not only are you not going to get security, and by way of security, I mean like police officers that we fund, you don't even get to defend yourself. Outrageous.
Yeah, Cori Bush's greatest sin is that all of them are doing it. Her greatest sin is that she was willing to say it.
Yeah, it's outrageous. So let's listen to some more Donald Duck.
Thank you.
Wiggins America when we come back, an
Yeah.
extended version.
Let's do it.
Hope you over-prepared. We'll be right back.
When you have Rhino Shield on your house, it does a couple of things for you. It beautifies the house and it protects it from the harshest elements. And boy, do we see those here in the greater St. Louis area. You get instant curb appeal. It will stick to anything. Rhino Shield is the answer, no matter whether you're painting a home or a church or a business or a condo, because it's 100% waterproof. It takes care of the outdoor maintenance on whatever is on the outside of your home. The brick, the block, aluminum, steel, stucco. They can put this on with the 2 to 3 coat process. They're there about a week, and they do a great job. A lot of businesses have done it in the area. Several Firestones have done that. Vantage Credit Union over the years, Harlan Packaging down in DeSoto. Call Darren today and schedule your free estimate. 877-25-RHINO, easy to remember phone number, or go online today at 877-25-RHINO.com.
Mike Carter here of Carter Law Offices. You know, as an attorney, I make my way across the great state of Missouri on a pretty regular basis. And from the rivers to the lakes and the Ozark Mountains, it's really just a pleasure to travel across the great state of Missouri. And, you know, not to mention, we have the best sports team and the best cities and the friendliest small towns in America, it seems like. And Carter Law Offices wants to make sure Missouri's story gets out far and wide about our excellent business climate, our exceptional workforce. You'll hear more from me soon, Mike Carter.
Visit MikeCarter.com to see Mike's interviews with all of Missouri's elected leaders.
Mike Carter here of Carter Law Offices. You know, as an attorney, I make my way across the great state of Missouri on a pretty regular basis. And from the rivers to the lakes and the Ozark Mountains and the richest farmland around, it's really just a pleasure to travel across the great state of Missouri. And, you know, not to mention, we have the best sports team and the best cities and the friendliest small towns in America, it seems like. And Carter Law Offices wants to make sure Missouri's story gets out far and wide about our excellent business climate, our exceptional workforce. You'll hear more from me soon, Mike Carter.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Urgent Camp Lejeune settlement message. The government will soon begin providing fast, guaranteed settlements to Camp Lejeune Marines, families, and civilians. Awards will range between $100,000 and $550,000 with an option for higher amounts. If you or a loved one spent time at Camp Lejeune and suffered cancers of the bladder, liver or kidneys, leukemia, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, Parkinson's, or kidney issues, you may be entitled to a significant financial reward for your Camp Lejeune claim and could be paid within 60 days after accepting your settlement with your VA benefits fully protected. But the deadline for filing is fast approaching, so you need to act now. Call the James Harris Law Camp Lejeune helpline now to get the compensation you deserve. We're already fighting for thousands harmed by the water at Camp Lejeune, and with the deadline coming, you need to call now or you may forever lose your right to a settlement between $100,000 and $550,000. For your free evaluation, call 800-885-2277, 800-885-2277, 800-885-2277.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Politics and the southern border. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Former President Trump is scheduled to speak next hour in Michigan about what he calls the president's border bloodbath, as President Biden continues to blame Republicans for a stalled border security bill. This as Texas adds more razor wire fence.
It's basically replicating the very effective wire barrier in Shelby Park over in Eagle Pass, Texas. Here in El Paso, miles and miles of wire fence and barrier is going up.
Fox's Matt Finn. This as the administration continues legal fights against some of the Texas border measures. The former president due to speak later this hour. The White House says President Biden had a candid and constructive call with China's president today, part of an ongoing commitment to manage competition and prevent unintended conflict.
The conversation was the first between President Biden and President Xi Jinping since a face-to-face meeting in November, and a promise then to renew military communications and cooperate on fentanyl trafficking and AI risk. President Biden raised concerns, a senior administration official says, with China's military operations in the South China Sea, Beijing's support of Russia, and unfair trade practices. President Biden reiterated the U.S. One China policy while also stressing opposition to any coercive means to bring Taiwan under China's control.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. President Xi calls Taiwan a red line. A gate ramming incident at an FBI field office outside Atlanta yesterday, still under investigation.
DeKalb County Police say they have gotten a warrant against Irvin Lee Bowling for interfering with government property. On Monday, federal agents said Bowling tried to trail another car through the field office's access gate, but instead drove into that barrier. Bowling was placed in custody, then taken to a hospital to be mentally evaluated.
Fox's Gernal Scott. Still no word on any possible motive. America is listening to Fox News.
When you get nachos, tacos, empanadas, spicy queso with jalapenos, Pepto-Bismol's there. Pepto-Bismol provides fast, effective relief from nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, and diarrhea. All the things that can happen unexpectedly on vacation. So before you travel, pack the Pepto. Pepto-Bismol.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Progressive presents 10 things on a food truck owner's to-do list that are harder than getting a commercial auto insurance quote. Stocking the fridge, prepping the stations, finding employees that get along well, finding employees that actually do their job. Looking at you, Gary. Balancing the books, balancing the flavors, having a fresh menu and fresh produce and fresh meat, but never a fresh mouth. But the easiest thing on a small business owner's to-do list? Seeing if you can save on commercial auto insurance. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage subject to policy terms and conditions.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Our temperatures are going to be making a slow slide going through the afternoon, and we'll get down to about 49 degrees by sunset. Tonight, partly to mostly cloudy. It's windy, it's cold, 38. Wednesday, very chilly day. Some wind gust on Wednesday of 45 miles per hour and the chance of a couple of showers. A really cold feeling, 48. Thursday, partly to mostly sunny and 55. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
WindowWorld.com. You're looking to replace those old, worn-out windows in your home? May I suggest Window World? They are the windows that you're going to be able to rely on that are simply the best for less. Those are two really good things, right? Being the best and not having to pay an arm and a leg for them. They are ranked #1 in windows sold in the country by Qualified Remodeler magazine. They use double-strength glass, giving it strength not commonly used in replacement windows, so that when you do invest in those window replacements in your house, whether it is maybe the front of the house or the whole house, you need that thermal efficiency back in your home. If you've noticed that your power bills every month are really pretty outrageous, and you're wondering, like, why is that? It seems like the air is working the way it's supposed to, but the house, it just keeps running and running and running. Check your windows. When you reach out to Window World at 314-993-1800, that's 314-993-1800, you're going to learn about the lifetime warranty they have that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor as well. Call Window World at 314-993-1800. Mention the Annie Fry Show when you do it. You can check them online at windowworld.com.
Listen, you've been making house payments for years, right? And right now, your home's value has never been higher, right? That means you're likely sitting on a small fortune in equity. Good for you. That's cash that you could use to help secure your retirement, solve all your financial burdens, enable you to travel, everything you want. The catch is, you're not ready to move. No problem. You don't have to with the TrueHold Sell and Stay Leaseback program. This is a genius financial strategy. You sell your home to TrueHold while its value is high. You bank all that equity in cash now, and you can stay as long as you like with an easy, affordable lease. And TrueHold pays property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. TrueHold unlocks your wealth without uprooting your life. Get a TrueHold offer now while your home's value is sky high. Call 1-855-300-9993. That's 1-855-300-9993. Or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out without moving out. TrueHold.com.
Are you a business owner? Do you want your voice and the voices of your clients represented? Let us do the talking. Join our community of free thinkers on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Learn more at 971talk.com/partner.
Our $79 garage door tune-up extended through April. Is your garage door old and whining for attention? Overhead Door Company of St. Louis will make it all better. They'll perform their full 26-task garage door tune-up for just $79, extended through April. That's just $79 for up to 3 garage doors and openers. You need this done once a year, so why not now? And for just $79. Schedule now at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been injured in a car wreck, you need the best. Let us make your case our cause. Car accident? Call Onder Law for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Listen, I can make the argument that President Biden is a much worse threat to democracy. And the reason for that is President Biden is the first candidate in history, the first president in history that has used the federal agencies to censor political speech, so to censor his opponent. I can say that because I just won a case in the Federal Court of Appeals and now before the Supreme Court. It shows that he started censoring not just me. 37 hours after he took the oath of office, he was censoring me. No president in the country has ever done that. The greatest threat in democracy is not somebody who questions election returns, but a president of the United States who used the power of his office to force the social media companies, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, to open a portal and give access to that portal to the FBI, to the CIA, to the IRS, to CISA, to NIH, to censor his political critics. President Biden, for the first president in history, to use his power over the Secret Service to deny Secret Service protection to one of his political opponents for political reasons. He's weaponizing the federal agencies.
Joe Biden, threat to democracy. I think that's RFK Jr.'s position there, and I think he's right.
This is one of the reasons why it's really valuable to have him in the race. Is he's a independent voice, completely independent, and saying things like this that need to be said. That maybe if you're not listening to conservatives, you might hear him say it, and I'm glad that he's saying it.
Well, in the bigger clip, he actually mentions he does think that Donald Trump is a threat. He just says that he thinks that Joe Biden is the bigger threat, and it's for those things that he just listed out there. It's not just overturning an election or something like that. He said it has everything to do with him basically going against American values and censoring political opponents, weaponizing federal agencies for political means.
He's taking a chisel and a just huge hammer to the number one thing that Joe Biden and the Democrats hold against Donald Trump, and that's that he's an insurrectionist. And I really believe that the idea that Donald Trump was trying to overthrow the government on January 6th and failed is not at all what I believe happened. I think that's factually inaccurate, but I can't really make sense of, I don't know, Brad, I think it might have been you who it was. If you were to take the people who were there that day on January 6th and suggest that they were all there to overthrow the government, you probably could not assemble a more Second Amendment friendly crowd. Right. They didn't really flex in that way.
They did not.
Like that. Oops, we forgot those things.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Of all the days.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoops. Did you bring? No. What? How are we going to do this?
What if we steal Nancy Pelosi's podium?
Yeah. We'll
that'll show them.
Here's what we'll do. We'll just Get inside. And we'll go from there. Get the podium.
Now, some of you are going to feel real intimidated by the velvet ropes. That's fine.
No.
Stay within them.
No. Get in a single file line and meander about.
This is the people's house.
We're going to see what happens. We'll do this with dignity.
Yeah. And you might want to take a couple selfies in there. Don't know if you'll be in there a whole lot.
Just to document that you were part of taking America back.
Take your phones in. Be sure to be tracked.
It's absurd, but it's absurd. First of all, like it is to me patently absurd to think that that's what was actually intended that day. Where is the political advantage that was cultivated that day? It's in the word insurrection.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most lame but insurrection that ever
really
occurred. And I know, I just saw last night on Twitter, they like divide the United States up into, I was like 8 different sections, and it's like Civil War breaks out, which section wins? Those people, let me just put it this way. When you read the comments, all of the people who win, they're red states, and that's because they know how to defend themselves. And that didn't occur on January 6th. The word insurrection is the most important thing that came out of that day. And when you work backwards, folks, which is how you have to work with Democrats, because they determine what the end is. They know where they need to land. And then they just got to wiggle and worm their way to that end. And however they get there, they get there. The most important thing to make sure that Donald Trump is never the president again is that people believe he tried to commit insurrection and overthrow the government. And it's really like, if you just pause, you take 7 steps backwards and look at the whole thing, you're like, nah, that ain't it. You ready for Wiggins America?
I'm ready.
Okay. Is Brad?
Wiggins! Oh!
He is.
Good job. Good job. Okay, so what I've got for you is just a few maybe forgotten health tips. And the reason that it caught my attention...
Your credentials, sir?
I've lost probably 4 or 5 pounds in the last 2 months. So I think you can pretty much take what I say to the bank.
What'd you do to lose 4 or 5 pounds? The people want to know.
Mostly what I did was I went to Japan, and they don't drive a lot there. You got to walk.
How long is it going to take you to put those 4 or 5 pounds back on?
Well, I haven't weighed myself since I've been home, so they might be back.
That's good.
Yeah, you're
All
off.
right.
Okay.
There you are. Go ahead.
So you didn't actually do anything. You just walked.
I walked more than I usually
do. You didn't
do.
eat healthy or
Well, you
take
eat
care of
healthier
yourself.
because you're just there and they
And
eat
just
healthier.
Japan.
Yeah.
We all saw that video that you did of the bar with all the
didn't
sweets.
eat there.
I
He
didn't
he
go,
didn't
though.
That's
go.
what he said.
The whole point
Yeah.
was no.
I did not do it. It was one of those that I was like, oh my gosh, I think I've just seen a
You
glimpse
lied
of
in
heaven.
that video.
What did I say?
You said you've never seen a buffet of desserts before.
Oh, I did see a
You
buffet of desserts
demolished
with you guys.
The Disney World dessert buffet.
Yeah.
5 times.
Let me tell you what, though, that was me going a little easy on it.
Oh, no.
Because
Why,
I knew
for shame?
I can't, because I knew that if I went crazy, I'd never hear the end of it. And I got to say, I walked that tightrope pretty well because you guys haven't brought it up a little bit.
Well, not to you. We talk about it behind your back
Oh, do you?
all the time.
Oh, neat. But I did not go in, and I was a little bit shamed into not going in because the 2 people I was with, my friend Mike and my wife, were both like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to sit there and watch you do this.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, I know, but I'm on vacation. And this is the kind of stuff we do on vacation, but I didn't. So I did that video for you guys.
So advice number 1 is avoid dessert buffets.
So there are some food things in here. But the one that caught my attention from being over there was why living near green spaces is good for you, because they just don't have, they do a lot of things really well. That is not one of them. They do not have much grass. I mean, they just don't if you're in Tokyo. But it says living in areas with more green spaces, such as gardens and parks, might have benefits for bone health and reduce the risk of osteoporosis, of all random things. And they're looking at a lot of research for this. They said that they looked at almost 400,000 people in the UK, and they showed a consistent association between the amount of green space and bone health, and they're suggesting that it may have to do with a little bit more probably walking and less air pollution in green spaces.
Yeah, cleaner air.
Cleaner air. So I thought that was pretty interesting. That's one thing. I don't think that now I don't know whether they're comparing us to Japan
Who's they?
or us.
What is this from?
This article is just from Yahoo, and it's a bunch of random studies that their health editor put together. After having been there and just seeing even a U.S. city like St. Louis or even New York City for that matter, we have a lot more green space than most people do. And I would think that that's probably across the board throughout all of our cities. So I don't know that this is something that we struggle with as much, having seen a really densely populated city. But another one that I thought, this one doesn't really apply to me as much, maybe Brad and the girls, remove your makeup before you hit the gym for better skin. If you often head straight from the office to the gym, you might be interested in this new research from the Journal of Cosmetic Dermatology, which looked at the effect of makeup during aerobic exercise.
I told you that in confidence.
Oh, sorry. The small study involved 43 healthy college students who applied foundation to one side of their face, left the other side clean before exercising. The results indicate that wearing makeup, especially skin-covering makeup...
How about not testing it on college-age students and their skin? Shut up.
Half of their faces broke
Do it on
out.
old people, middle-aged, saggy moms. I'm talking about me. Leave me alone. Okay, thanks, Leah, for that.
No, why are you saying middle-aged saggy moms?
Okay, I can show you, but I don't think that I'm allowed to.
You're not in that category.
Thank you. Ryan,
Nice
would
save.
you like to comment?
Nice save. I would like to comment, and I would like to say good job, Leah.
Which part?
Why would you say saggy? You're not in that category. You wouldn't even know anything about that.
Good underwear.
No, don't say that either.
It's not good the way you think good underwear is good.
I've had these underwear for 35 years.
No, I didn't even consider
Man,
that.
are they saggy?
I'm saying, when I say good underwear, when women say good underwear, they're saying functional.
Why don't you just say functional? Because if you say good, there's a lot of ways that could be interpreted.
Not for women. That's just the point.
Here's your health or your
What are we
food
talking
one.
about?
It's just random
This
health
is
advice.
inappropriate. Get HR in here. Who is HR?
They're in Portland or something. We can do whatever we want.
Oh, we got lots of latitude then.
Yeah. It says the fake sweet stuff may be bad for your heart. So obviously,
The chemicals?
there's all this research about sugar being bad for you, but they haven't really linked it to your heart as much. It says artificially sweetened beverages like diet soda may have a negative impact on your heart, according to a new study. The research suggests that people who drink 2 liters or more of artificially sweetened beverages per week have a 20% higher risk of atrial fibrillation and irregular and rapid heartbeat.
I always wonder if there's a direct correlation between what you're consuming with the artificial chemical sweeteners and the propensity to want to drink diet sodas and eat crap. I'll have a triple cheeseburger meal with a Diet Coke.
Yes.
Good save on the Diet Coke.
Is it inappropriate that I do this all the time, and I have for now probably over a year since I got my little weird diabetes diagnosis that I'm barely diabetic.
Ryan,
What?
you are diabetic.
I am, but I'm just barely.
No.
I don't have to take any
No.
medicine.
No.
I don't have to do anything yet.
No.
Yeah.
You are
it's true.
diabetic.
Yes.
Every time you bring this up, you explain why you're kind of not.
I'm kind of not, though, because I'm kind of not.
You are.
No, I'm just barely over the line. I don't have to take any medication yet. So
Do you
maybe
track
in the
your
years
insulin?
coming. Yeah.
Ah!
I mean, I used to, and it was like, I don't really need to do this anymore. But
Yeah,
I
that's
do
how
drink.
That's how you become convincingly diabetic.
I do drink half and half sodas. So that's been one change that I have kept.
You just drink diet.
Is that I pour half a diet and half a regular in, and I can't really tell the taste difference because it's half and half, especially at a fountain soda. It's really easy to do. And I'm drinking half the sugar. It's really great. And it is what?
Ryan, you got to embrace it. You got to own it.
I have. I skipped the buffet.
Do you have more tips?
I have a couple more.
Maybe
if you
we'll.
want to.
If it's, I don't want them now. I need a break.
Yeah.
I need some intellectual conversation with Dave Rubin here in a minute. It's going to be hard to transition this show back on track, but I think I
it's
can
going to be
handle
hard
it.
to go into such an intellectual conversation from such intellectual conversation.
This is just like your perspective on your diabetes. It's close, but not completely truthful. Are you good?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm looking forward to Dave Rubin, actually.
Okay.
That's the part where I get to sit back and go, ooh, this will be fun.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk to Dave Rubin when we come back of the Rubin Report. You can follow him on X at Rubin Report, also rubinreport.locals.com, but on the Annie Fry Show in just a few minutes. We'll continue this conversation later.
Okay.
All right. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
The devil went down to Georgia, but he didn't stick around. This is God's country.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Turn the dirt and work until the week's done. We take a break and break bread on Sunday, then do it all again, 'cause we're proud to be from God's country.
Have I talked to you about Ruler Foods lately? Probably, but I just want to remind you that the savings that you get right now, when everybody can afford to save a little bit anywhere you can, that Ruler Foods is a smart play for your grocery shopping. It is a Kroger brand store, but at Ruler Foods prices. So all of the groceries that you're typically shopping for, those name brands are going to be there at Ruler Foods for you, but you're also going to be able to save extra on those Kroger brands. When you're going to Ruler Foods, the way that the grocery store is laid out is similar to any other grocery store you've been through. Wonderful produce. My husband loves to buy the avocados. We eat guacamole regularly with fresh produce from Ruler Foods. Right now, they have a pound of strawberries or 6-ounce blackberries, $1.47 each. When you go shopping at Ruler Foods, you can go online to rulerfoods.com and see the sale that they have going on any particular items that have an extra discount that week. But you can also search for the Ruler Foods that's closest to you. Just go on the rulerfoods.com, type in your zip code, and go shopping today and save. You will thank me after you make your grocery shopping list. You go through Ruler Foods, you get your groceries, and you go, wow, should have been doing this a long time ago. Rulerfoods.com.
Hey homeowners, it's time to transform your house into a masterpiece with Lakeside Renovation and Design, your James Hardie siding experts. Picture this, durable, weather-resistant siding that doesn't just protect, but elevates your home's value and curb appeal. James Hardie, the gold standard in siding, installed by the pros at Lakeside. Say goodbye to maintenance headaches and hello to a home that stands the test of time. Ready for a siding upgrade? Lakeside Renovation and Design is your go-to. Visit our showroom or call today. Unleash the potential of your home with James Hardie Siding.
The IRS definitely ramped up operations since the pandemic slowed them down, and activity only increases from here. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. If you're currently under audit or you haven't paid your taxes in the past, now's the time to call the Lance Story Law Firm. The IRS has a published Taxpayer Bill of Rights, which says you have the right to retain legal representation, because IRS problems are legal problems, and the Lance Story Law Firm focuses specifically on addressing IRS issues for our clients. It's all we do. We get out in front of the IRS, devise the best resolution plan, and work to make sure you're able to take advantage of every program you're qualified to receive. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure company, call the Lance Story Law Firm. We're local, located right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURYlaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hustlers is where we go when the police hassle us. Go to 45bucks.com.
This is Mike Carter, founder of 45bucks.com, or as you know it, Traffic Law Counselors. And right now, around tax time, we know folks are taking care of issues that they may have been putting off for a while. Maybe a driving while suspended or a warrant, things that you may have been worrying about for a little while. And we specialize in keeping folks' records clean. They come to us on a Monday, they can't drive, and by the end of that week on a Friday, we've got them back in the driver's seat driving legally. And that's very gratifying. And God forbid you're wrestling with something like a DWI, you can go to DWISTL.com. We got 10 paralegals and attorneys that are working on those cases nonstop, and depositions, trials, hearings, and we can put that to work for you as well. In fact, it's the enduring success of Traffic Law Counselors that has enabled us to be the preeminent DWI attorneys in St. Louis at DWISTL.com. So now you know, if you have a traffic matter, it's 45bucks.com. If you've got a DWI issue, it's DWISTL.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Gain peace of mind that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They give all their clients attentive personal service, even bring toys for the kids of the household. It's a family-owned and operated business for 25-plus years. They make sure you make the right choice for your home. So if you have carpets or hard floors, you're going to be happy for years to come. 3 convenient locations in St. Charles County, 116 Main Street, in Old Town St. Peters at Mid Rivers and Highway 70, in West County on Olive, and the store in Darden Prairie. Michael's Flooring Outlet, igotfloor.com.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Get in your comfort zone with double Carrier Cool Cash rebates up to $4,200 and 0% financing for up to 72 months on a new HVAC system. For details and a free estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Tuesday afternoon, Spain has a new trans equality law, and the backlash has been pretty spectacular. We'll talk about it.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
This particular issue on Gaza is breaking our coalition. We need that fragile coalition to come back together. But this is a moral issue for people, and so there's not a lot of time to fix it. The worse it gets in Gaza, the harder it gets to bring people back in.
So there's Congresswoman Jaya Paul saying, oh, God forbid, the Democrat coalition is fracturing right now, and it's a moral issue. Yeah, there's a lot of principle involved in supporting Israel here in the United States, and I guess Joe Biden's got some trouble on his hands. Good thing he's doing it in the United States of America, not next door to Hamas and Gaza. I want to bring on our next guest. I'm incredibly excited to have Dave Rubin back on the show with us, the creator and host of the Rubin Report, rubinreport.locals.com as well. Dave, welcome back. Good to have you here.
Always good to be with you. Let's solve all the world's problems.
Well, you went to Israel, and you have a firsthand account of what those individuals over there are experiencing in the wake of what I would say is wavering United States support. What was your takeaway from being there?
Boy, you know, I'm 2 weeks out of being there. I was there for 8 days, and it's still with me. I mean, there's an incredible dichotomy in the country that I guess probably has a lot to do with the history and survival of the Jewish people. On one hand, they're, 5 or 6 months out of the worst pogrom or terrorist attack since the Holocaust. They're burying people. They're still discovering remains of people. You go down to where the Nova Festival, the music festival was. You think it's a cemetery or a graveyard, but it's actually just a memorial at this point, and people are buried elsewhere. There's still 125 or so hostages. It's unclear if they're alive. There hasn't been, proof of life in months at this point since the last hostage release, which was a couple months ago. And yet, at the same time, when you go to Tel Aviv or even to Jerusalem or some of the other cities, they're living again, and they're out at restaurants and they're out at bars, and things are happening. And that is what they've always lived with. They've been through years of suicide bombing. They've been through years of stabbing random people. They've been through bus bombings and car rammings and just virtually anything you can think of in the 75-year existence of the modern state of Israel. And they still keep going. So they will win this. I mean, the one thing, Israel, like America, it's very divided politically. You have lefties, you have righties, you have anarchists, you have conservatives, you have the same plethora that we have here and that exists in Canada and in free societies. You have people of every walk of life, of every political orientation. But the one thing that was very, very clear to me from people across the board was they have to finish this war. This can't be, okay, ceasefire, Hamas exists, we don't know where our people are. Like then, as everyone said, then what is the purpose of the state at that point? The purpose of a state is to protect its citizens. So they have to finish the war, and it's a damn shame that Biden seems to be being dragged by the Jayapals and the AOCs and the Rashida Tlaibs of his party.
We're speaking with Dave Rubin here on the Annie Fry Show. I mean, it's so obvious what this president is doing with this particular situation, because it's what he does with literally everything that he has to weigh in on and make a decision. He puts his finger in the air. He looks where the political winds are shifting, and then he just, I guess, shuffles into that direction with wide platform tennis shoes. And right now it seems as though if it's going to be in Michigan today, Wisconsin votes, there are people on the very left progressive side of the Democrat Party that are departing from a very agreed upon understanding that we do support Israel, that we are each other's greatest allies. And I don't think that he can juggle both of these things at the same time and be successful in November. What do you expect to see from the president as a campaigner in the next few months regarding this issue?
Right. Well, there's a couple things going on here. I mean, first off, nobody knows what Joe Biden of 2024 thinks because his mind is muddled, and it's clear that he is not the intellectual driving force behind these policies. Does anyone honestly think he's sitting in these meetings really leading with a vision for the world and for America or anything else? No, in a weird way, he's become the perfect avatar for what America is right now. It's very confused and sort of feels like it doesn't know what it is, and that's a huge, huge problem. Yes, the radical base of the progressive part of the party seemingly has taken over. I would say if you're an old school liberal, if you're a liberal of say 20 years ago, which would have been most Democrats, just kind of a moderate liberal, willing to agree to disagree and all that, I would say at this point, you're pretty much a moderate Republican. And that includes a wide swath of people who would have never considered themselves Republicans, like Elon Musk and Joe Rogan and myself, and RFK even is no longer a Democrat, and his last name is Kennedy. So that tells you a lot. The question as to where Biden will go with this as it rolls into the election, it's a little hard to say. I mean, on one hand, they may just be looking at the Jewish vote and going, boy, well, you know what? No matter what, we win New York, and no matter what, we win California, and no matter what, we lose Florida. Those are the three big places for Jews. So it's like, who cares what the Jewish vote is? By the way, you can make another version of that would be like, look what they've done with black people. They know they get the black vote, although I think that might change a bit this year. So you don't have to do anything for them. Now, I think that's short-sighted for many reasons. One would be that there are many more people beyond just Jews who support Israel. But secondly, more importantly, to your point, when people say America needs Israel or Israel needs America, it is a two-way street, I would say, with all of the West. Because think about it this way: it doesn't matter if you like Jews or not. It doesn't particularly matter if you care about Israel or anything else. But if you live in a Western society, so if you live in the UK or France or Denmark or Canada or America, imagine if Israel loses this war, truly loses this war. We have a second Holocaust. Okay, another 8 million Jews. Virtually, 70% of the Jews of the world are now killed. Do you think that the Islamists who are marching in the streets in the UK or in Canada, all over Canada, quite depressingly, or in France or Belgium, do you think that they're going to be like, okay, we did it. We got rid of the Jews. Congratulations. We got another Arab country of Palestine, which never existed in the first place. No, they will be emboldened. So the real key is, again, it does not matter. I think there are moral and ethical reasons that you should care about the plight of certain people. But even if you don't, and you think that it has no strategic value and it's a pain in the ass because the Middle East is all screwy and to a certain extent, all of that might be right. All right, just see what happens if Israel goes down. It's really the first line of defense for the rest of the world. It's just true.
It is. And, it just seems to me that there is no principle behind what the Biden administration is doing. It just feels incredibly political, but that follows with the other decisions that this administration and policies that this administration seems to have invested in.
If I could quickly just add to that,
Yeah.
I mean, the point here is you're right, because the policy has been, oh, this is our ally. So an ally, you're not just an ally with another country in good times. Oh, yeah, we're allies.
Yeah.
Okay, everything's fine. US and Canada, okay, everything's basically fine. It's good. You're an ally when it matters. And they're a tiny country dealing with insane security things. One of the things that most people don't know, I didn't even realize till I was there, Gaza's in the south of Israel, which is the size of New Jersey. The north has 100,000 people evacuated since October 7th because Hezbollah has taken over Lebanon and they've got several 100,000 rockets faced to the north. So they evacuated 100,000 people. So that the hotel that I was staying at in Tel Aviv, it was mostly people who live in the north who are now living there for months. So they have a certain portion of their country that has been evacuated. They're dealing with the aftermath in the south. Any Friday, we're in Ramadan right now. It's been pretty quiet, but any Friday, we know that could blow up in Jerusalem. So they're dealing with extraordinary things. And it's like, okay, you want to be an ally, Joe Biden? I get it. You don't really know who you are anymore or what you stand for anymore. But if you want to be an ally, you say to your friend, we'll help you get your people back, or at least we'll just not get in the way. Nobody wants American troops or anything. They just want some diplomatic support and some ammo if they need it. And by the way, the ammo or the military support we give them all has to be spent in the United States. So you might have a problem with American foreign aid, and that's fine. I would cut it across the board. But every dollar that we quote unquote give to Israel is actually spent in the U.S. So we're subsidizing our own industries. There's so many layers to this whole thing, actually.
Yeah, and even looking at what the administration has actually done versus the lip service that they often give, with the UN non-vote, and then asking John Kirby, and John Kirby like, nothing has changed at all. It's like, well, that's not what you're presenting to people in particular areas or particular demographics that might want to hear you. You can say in a campaign speech, or no, we said this, we did that, and they're separate things. They're trying to play both sides of this issue, and this is not an issue you're going to get away with in the end being on both sides of.
Well, by the way, Annie, that there are at least 4 American hostages still. Isn't that interesting? That nobody talks about Americans that are there. So when I was there, it did cross my mind for a moment when I was right by the Gaza border. If something happened right now and I was kidnapped, would America even care about me? I'm an American. So that's a bizarre notion. But the truth is, this thing could be over in 5 minutes. If Joe Biden would get on the phone with Qatar and say, we know you have the Hamas leadership there. There's about 6 guys. They're all billionaires because they became real rich while Gaza was largely impoverished, although we see that now that they basically built a world-class army. We could call Qatar and say, hey, you have a half hour to release the hostages or we're bombing Qatar. Qatar can't fight us. It could all be over right now if that's what the Americans wanted or the American administration wanted. I think that's what the Americans want. But sadly, here we are.
Yeah. And when just a small transition into this weekend transgender day of visibility, because we don't have anything that is showing us transgender people and making them visible these days. When the president was asked about that, he said, I didn't do that. And I'm kind of prone to believe that he is admitting to the American people, these things happen. They don't run them by me. This administration is managed, and like you said, the avatar is there to be in the places or say the things that are written down for him. I just wondered what your thoughts were on that and that admission that maybe he doesn't actually know what's going on, and he's vocalizing it in front of everyone to see.
I think that's quite clear. I mean, look, when he ends these press conferences and he starts taking questions and he goes, oh, I'll get in trouble if I say that, or I'll get in trouble if I talk to you. It's like, who are you getting in trouble with, Joe? That's the person we need to be talking to right now. So I actually believe him when he says, I didn't know about this or something to that effect. I believe they put paper in front of him and he just signs it. The Transgender Day of Visibility, it started in 2009, actually. A lot of people thought it started under Obama. I was actually even confused about that. But it started in 2009 on this March 31st. So it's not that they put it on Easter, other than the fact that they knew that Easter was eventually going to fall on that, because we know where Easter falls on the calendar. So it was intentional. This is what they do with absolutely everything. And even if you think it wasn't intentional, if you look at Biden's Twitter, if you look at Kamala's Twitter, if you look at most of the Department of, Secretary of Education and all that stuff, they all had long scribes about the importance of the Transgender Day of Visibility. Just kind of one-liners on Easter, little throwaway to the Easter people.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I don't know if you heard the clip. Did you hear him say hi to the Oyster Bunny? It's like my favorite thing that came out of this.
I didn't hear that, but
it's a classic, and it's going to go down in history as one of my favorite Bidenisms.
Yeah.
The Oyster Bunny.
The Oyster Bunny. He hangs out with Corn Pop.
Yeah, they're both bad dudes from what I hear. You are not, Dave Rubin. We're grateful for your time here on our show, and thank you for sharing some of your experience of being over in Israel to give us that upfront perspective. Thank you.
Oh, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Thanks.
Thank you. You as well. Dave Rubin, he is the host and creator of the Rubin Report. And you can learn more from him at rubinreport.locals.com. Locals is his entity, and I encourage you to check it out and learn more of what's going on over there. Interesting stuff. I have that clip. When you hear President Biden speaking and you listen to the way he is constantly trying and struggling to read and to say the things he's supposed to say, and then they just come out.
Thank you all so very, very much. Thanks, everybody. And by the way, say hello to Oyster Bunnies. Come on up, Bunnies. Get up here so they can see you. Come on, get in. Thanks, everybody. And by the way, say hello to Oyster Bunnies.
As first he's going after Easter and the resurrection of our Lord, and now the Oyster Bunny? Does this man have any respect for these important holidays? Give me a break. Dave Rubin, great to have him on the show with us. Let's take a quick break. We'll get Ryan Wiggins back in here in just a minute. I always appreciate the opportunity to spend some time with Mr. Rubin. You can check the podcast if you didn't hear the whole thing. We'll be right back.
Buy a jumbo jet.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
It wasn't easy.
Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Nothing is. No. When I feel heavy metal.
Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan are a phone call or a text message away. 314-324-4440. 314-324-4440. Let me set the bagel loan up for you. And why only at Stewart's American Mortgage you can get the bagel loan. It's worthy of your time to contact Stewie and discuss how it could benefit you. You're in the market for a new house. You've been searching. You maybe have come close to getting some, but the bidding wars are heating up again, and you need to become a more competitive buyer for the time you find the right house to make your home. With the bagel loan, once you get pre-approved, you can create your own pre-approval letters on his website, so you don't have to wait for a third party, because time is very, very important when you're making these types of offers. And the big sell on the bagel loan: no closing costs. You're going to get your mortgage through the bagel loan at Stewart's American Mortgage, and it's going to cost you $0 to go through that process and do it. This can save you thousands of dollars. Apply that to the offer amount for the house. Maybe make the more competitive offer. Put it in your pocket if you think you got a competitive offer to begin with, and save when you use the bagel loan. And you can only get the bagel loan from my friend Stewie. I'm a 2-time bagel loan customer myself to lower my rate because it didn't cost me anything to go through the process to do it. I encourage you to give him a call to check out your situation. 314-324-4440. 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
Crazy times we're in, especially this year with all the crap we have to listen to during this political season. At least you have a break in your day and you can hear me. All kidding aside, the prices are absolutely, without a question, the worst I've ever seen across the board on everyday products. And now you add in government mandates for air conditioning and furnaces. This is the best time this month to still get good pricing on great, efficient equipment that will save your money by simply replacing your old, inefficient equipment. Plus, 0% for 60 months. No interest. It's Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. The easiest of numbers, and there's only one. 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com.
Mike Carter here of Carter Law Offices. You know, as an attorney, I make my way across the great state of Missouri on a pretty regular basis. And from the rivers to the lakes and the Ozark Mountains, it's really just a pleasure to travel across the great state of Missouri. And, you know, not to mention, we have the best sports team and the best cities and the friendliest small towns in America, it seems like. And Carter Law Offices wants to make sure Missouri's story gets out far and wide about our excellent business climate, our exceptional workforce. You'll hear more from me soon, Mike Carter.
Visit MikeCarter.com to see Mike's interviews with all of Missouri's elected leaders.
Mike Carter here of Carter Law Offices. You know, as an attorney, I make my way across the great state of Missouri on a pretty regular basis. And from the rivers to the lakes and the Ozark Mountains and the richest farmland around, it's really just a pleasure to travel across the great state of Missouri. And, you know, not to mention, we have the best sports team and the best cities and the friendliest small towns in America, it seems like. And Carter Law Offices wants to make sure Missouri's story gets out far and wide about our excellent business climate, our exceptional workforce. You'll hear more from me soon, Mike Carter.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
More good news for Frederick Roofing, voted best roofing company by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
314-645-2000.
Hello, this is Chad Clayman with Clayman Group, KLAMEN Group.com, where we buy houses direct and as is condition with no middleman involved. I recently bought a house from somebody that was embarrassed to let me in the door. There was stuff all over the place and the entire house smelled like smoke. However, we were definitely able to see the potential. We gave them a great cash offer that they were very happy with. So if you have a house that isn't in the best shape, maybe in disrepair, we're interested in making you an as-is cash offer. Please reach out today, KLAMEN Group.com.
Well, if you missed Dave Rubin on the show just now, get the podcast. We'll be having that uploaded here shortly. It is 1:45 right now. The YouTube live chat poll is, will Trump win non-swing blue states? Yes or no? Let us know what you think about November 2024. Ultimately, that's what's in the crosshairs. Again, 1:45. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Don't miss the Mark Cox Morning Show Spring Bourbon Fling at Clayton Winehouse. Kim St. Ange, join Mark and me on Thursday, April 18th. We'll try Green River, Redwood Empire, plus Big O Ginger Liqueur, Round Pond Wines, and more. Tickets are on sale now at 971talk.com/events.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Appreciate you being with us. I really love talking to Dave Rubin there, and he's so spot on about like the understanding that what's going on in Israel right now is the idea that we would be an ally to Israel in good times. Like everybody wants to be friends during the good times. Everybody wants to go to the bachelorette parties or the bachelor parties and celebrate the fun events and the big milestones. But when you really need a friend is when everything is low and you need someone to be by your side and help defend you or battle with you or be with you or even just be there and be silent with you. And the idea that the United States is not going to be that friend to Israel I can't reconcile that with principle. It shakes out to only be political. And I think that's an absolute tragedy. So if you missed Dave Rubin, check the Annie Fry Show podcast. We'll have that up for you shortly, so that you can listen to that and watch that as well. I did play for you this clip, and this is just really funny to me, I suppose.
Thank you all so very, very much. Thanks, everybody. And by the way, say hello to oyster bunnies. Come on up, bunnies. Get up here so they can see you. Come on, get in there.
It's not coherent before he says oyster bunnies. It's not something that is like, he doesn't sound of sound mind.
Yeah.
And then he says,
it's not as if just one little word got messed up. It was everything leading up to that word was, he's not having it's a bad Biden day.
I was watching Jesse Waters last night trying to catch up on some news. I hadn't paid a whole bunch of attention to news over the weekend with the holiday. I was just very committed to visibly seeing the transgender community for once.
Yeah, I mean, it's an agenda that's not pushed almost at all the rest of the year.
But watching Jesse Waters, his producer, Johnny, who we're really emphatically trying to get on the show, and Fox is like, you can't have him. I'm like, why? Because he's great. We're trying to get Jesse Waters on the show so that we can ask for producer Johnny. I'm going to do it. But Johnny was at that fundraiser. He went outside the fundraiser for Joe Biden, where Obama was there and Bill Clinton was there, and he's asking people like, who are you really excited to see? And literally nobody says Biden. Oh, Obama, Bill Clinton. Who's your favorite president? Who's your favorite Democrat president? Nobody says Biden. And like one of the questions that Johnny asks is something to the effect of like, do you think that Barack Obama and Bill Clinton can help put back together the Biden administration so he can win re-election? One guy was like, I don't think he needs the help. And everyone else is like, oh, man, I really hope so. I'm like, this is at a Dem fundraiser, like the premier Dem fundraiser. And Johnny goes to these individuals. These are people who paid, I think, minimum entry level $250 to get in the door at this fundraiser. Other people were saying thousands of dollars. And they're saying, he's like, what is your favorite accomplishment of Joe Biden's? And this one woman stutters and she goes, oh, no, take this out. Take this out. Well, they obviously left it in. And another person's like, oh, the Inflation Reduction Act. And Johnny's like, inflation is through the roof. And they're like, no, it's not. And they just kept repeating, no, it's not. And that was sufficient.
Yeah, and it usually is. It usually is. That's the amazing thing about living in 2024 America is that sometimes things you know to be true are told to you, no, that's a lie.
This is Fox News. It's fake news.
Yeah.
And that is enough. That's a pretty powerful place that the leftist agenda-driven media has positioned information that if Fox says it, it's inherently a lie. They did the same thing to Donald Trump. If Donald Trump comes out and says, the sky is blue, it's a lie because Trump said it. And it's been effective to smart people who have money to spend to help get Joe Biden reelected.
Yeah, if you feel right now that the economy is not good, it's just because you're not educated enough. We haven't given you It's really our fault as messengers for not giving you the proper numbers that you need to be focusing on, because ultimately if you hear the numbers we want you to hear, we can make you convinced that things are actually better than you're experiencing.
The president is the former president is speaking right now in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and he's flanked by what looks like police officers, law enforcement, and he's talking about the border crisis. Let's listen into what Trump is saying right now.
Related. And you see the lowest point in history was just before I left. Just as I was leaving, that was the lowest point. You see the arrows pointing? And I think that chart spells out better than anything I can say today. In fact, I don't have to say anything. I can just leave. Just take a look at that. That is the best. And then it looks like a rocket ship went off. When you look at the other numbers, it's a shame. It's a sad shame. Under crooked Joe Biden, every state is now a border state. Every town is now a border town, because Joe Biden has brought the carnage and chaos and killing from all over the world and dumped it straight into our backyards. And people are coming in from prisons and mental institutions, and nobody's ever seen anything like it. Under the Trump administration, we had a tough policy of getting the bad people out. We wanted to get them out. We took them out by the thousands, and we took, as an example, the MS-13 gangs out. The countries didn't want to let them back in, and I said, well, then we're not giving you any money. We give them so much money, this case $793 million. I said, that's okay. We're not going to give you any money. And they said, well, we'd be glad to have MS-13 coming back into our country. Be an honor. And they took them back, but they wouldn't take them back under Obama. Under the Obama administration with Biden, they wouldn't take them back. And I was told that they won't take them back. And I said, really, what do we give them? And it was close to $800 million. I said, tell them we're not giving it to them anymore. And they immediately said, let's take them back. That negotiation, sheriffs lasted about 3 minutes, and we succeeded. That was an easy one. Now under Biden, the bad ones are coming in at a level that nobody ever thought was even possible. Nobody thought this was possible. In Venezuela, the crime is down 67% from what it was a year and a half ago, because they're taking all of their gangs and all of their criminals and they're depositing them into the United States of America. Venezuela, think of it, their crime. Wouldn't we love to have a statistic where crime is down 67%? Ours is only going in one direction, and it's going to be very bad now because we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. They're having fistfights with our police officers right in the middle of streets. They're sending prisoners, murderers, drug dealers, mental patients, and terrorists, the worst they have in every country, all over the world. This isn't just in South America. They're coming from the Congo, from Yemen, from Somalia, from Syria. They come from all over the world, China. Many of them are military age, which is a very strange. You don't see very many women coming in, and you see a lot of them coming in at about 19 to 25, 26 years old, and especially from China. We have 29,000 over the last few months, 29,000 from China, and they all seem to be perfectly fit for military service, ready for military service. It's crazy. This is country changing, it's country threatening, and it's country wrecking. They have wrecked our country. But I stand before you today to declare the Joe Biden's border bloodbath, and that's what it is. It's a bloodbath. They tried to use that term incorrectly on me 2 weeks ago. You know, it's all about misinformation. That's all they do is cheat on elections and disinformation, misinformation, fairly closely related, those two words. But they basically mean that it's all talk, but it's a border bloodbath, and it's destroying our country. It's a very bad thing happening. It's going to end on the day that I take office, which will be January 20th. It'll end.
So President Trump speaking from Grand Rapids, Michigan, and he's leaning into the bloodbath thing, folks. He is not backing down. Of course he's not backing down. I don't know that he knows how to back down. Have you ever seen it? Can you think of anything that he's been criticized for and been like, oh...
No.
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 Never.
No. Like, oh, I got that one really wrong.
Even if he's wrong and somebody calls him on it, he usually leans into it anyway.
He, remember in 2015 when he was campaigning for president and he talked about people coming across the border and was talking about how they're not good people and they're like, he's calling them murderers and rapists.
Yep.
Now we have murderers and rapists. And does that mean every single one of them is a murderer and a rapist? No. He never said every single one of them was, but he said that those types of people would come here. And instead of securing the border, Joe Biden kicked that door wide open and literally said, come. He said, come. And they did. And it's on him. And there's a bloodbath. And Trump called it. He's not backing down. Morning Fry Show right around the corner. Go check the podcast for Jason Plummer, Illinois State Senator, in the first hour, and Dave Rubin in the second. We'll be right back.
Imagine having all the money you need for retirement, all the income, every month, guaranteed. That's Secure Future Investor, an indexed annuity tied to growth in the stock market, but without any risk of loss ever. It's guaranteed money for life income, no matter how long you live. Call 888-509-2228. 888-509-2228. Sponsored by GP Agency, Inc., Raleigh, North Carolina. Licensed in all states. Performance may vary. Consult with your financial professional before making an investment decision.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month. But you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age of Learning.
There's a lot of restaurants, especially nice restaurants, that go way out of their way to be cool. They try very, very hard to provide a great atmosphere. Andrea's is like the OG on cool. You go there and you're going to experience a restaurant like you've never experienced before. They've always been that way. They're just a great place to go and enjoy a meal with people that you love, or maybe business associates. A lot of business meetings happen at Andrea's because the food is the main attraction. Yes, the ambience is really cool, but it's the food that people go to Andrea's for. I'm looking at their menu online right now. If you want a great steak, man, if you've never been to Andrea's, it's been a while, go to Andrea's for your next occasion, whatever that may be. Birthday, graduation, Father's Day, Mother's Day, that kind of stuff's all right ahead. So make some reservations. You can do that online at Andreas.com. Of course, their steak sauce is the main attraction. You can buy a bottle of that at anywhere you buy steak sauce, which would be Schnucks and Deerbergs.
Traffic law counselors is where we go when the police hassle us. Go to 45bucks.com.
This is Mike Carter, founder of 45bucks.com, or as you know it, traffic law counselors. And right now, around tax time, we know folks are taking care of issues that they may have been putting off for a while. Maybe a driving while suspended or a warrant, things that you may have been worrying about for a little while. And we specialize in keeping folks' records clean. They come to us on a Monday, they can't drive, and by the end of that week on a Friday, we've got them back in the driver's seat driving legally. And that's very gratifying. And God forbid you're wrestling with something like a DWI. You can go to DWISTL.com. We got 10 paralegals and attorneys that are working on those cases nonstop, and depositions, trials, hearings, and we can put that to work for you as well. In fact, it's the enduring success of traffic law counselors that has enabled us to be the preeminent DWI attorneys in St. Louis at DWISTL.com. So now you know, if you have a traffic matter, it's 45bucks.com. If you've got a DWI issue, it's DWISTL.com.
The Choice of a Lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Border state. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Former President Trump making his first of 2 campaign stops today in Grand Rapids, Michigan, but focusing on the U.S.-Mexico border and what he calls the current president's border bloodbath.
Because Joe Biden has brought the carnage and chaos and killing from all over the world and dumped it straight into our backyards.
White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre criticizing what she calls awful rhetoric and saying President Biden believes immigrants strengthen the country and the economy.
This president sees the immigration system as an issue that majority of Americans care about and that we should fix. We should get to the bottom of this.
She's urging Congress to take up a stalled border security bill. President Biden raising concerns about TikTok's ownership during a phone call with China's president today. The White House says he emphasized that divestiture is the goal because of national security interests. The House passed a bill that could lead to a TikTok ban if the Chinese parent company does not divest. The Senate has not scheduled a vote on that bill. The White House expressing outrage over an Israeli airstrike that hit an aid convoy in Gaza, killing 7 workers from World Central Kitchen. But the administration defends continued military assistance to Israel. National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby says Israel is still under a viable threat from Hamas.
We're still going to make sure that they can defend themselves and that 7th of October doesn't happen again. That doesn't mean that it's a free pass, that we look the other way when something like this happens, or that we aren't and haven't since the beginning of the conflict urged the Israelis to be more precise, to be more careful.
Kirby also says the U.S. had nothing to do with an airstrike in Syria that killed members of Iran's Revolutionary Guard, including 2 generals. Iran blames Israel. America is listening to Fox News.
When you get nachos, tacos, empanadas, spicy queso with jalapenos, Pepto-Bismol's there. Pepto-Bismol provides fast, effective relief from nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, and diarrhea. All the things that can happen unexpectedly on vacation. So before you travel, pack the Pepto. Pepto-Bismol.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Progressive presents 10 things on a food truck owner's to-do list that are harder than getting a commercial auto insurance quote. Stocking the fridge, prepping the stations, finding employees that get along well, finding employees that actually do their job. Looking at you, Gary. Balancing the books, balancing the flavors, having a fresh menu and fresh produce and fresh meat, but never a fresh mouth. But the easiest thing on a small business owner's to-do list? Seeing if you can save on commercial auto insurance. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage subject to policy terms and conditions.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Our temperatures are going to be making a slow slide going through the afternoon, and we'll get down to about 49 degrees by sunset. Tonight, partly to mostly cloudy. It's windy, it's cold, 38. Wednesday, very chilly day. Some wind gust on Wednesday of 45 miles per hour and the chance of a couple of showers. A really cold feeling, 48. Thursday, partly to mostly sunny and 55. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Tired of those pesky moments when you're streaming your favorite shows? Well, say hello to i3 Broadband's 100% fiber optic network with parental controls. You can manage your kids' screen time, filter content, and keep an eye on their online adventures. All with no annual contracts or hidden fees. Just insanely fast internet and a no-risk 30-day money-back guarantee. Call 877-976-0711 or log on to i3broadband.com/STL. We're local, reliable, and proud to serve St. Louis.
When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
It's what's happening.
The Pope appealed once again
right now
for an immediate ceasefire in the Gaza Strip.
Salvage crews in Baltimore lifting the first pieces of wreckage from the Francis Scott Key Bridge.
Keeping you informed. St. Louis is home for conservative talk. The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
I mean, look, just a couple of things, and really so surprised by the misinformation that's been out there around this, and I want to be very clear. Every year for the past several years, on March 31st, Transgender Day of Visibility is marked. And as we know, for folks who understand the calendar and how it works, Easter falls on different Sundays, right, every year. And this year it happened to coincide with Transgender Visibility Day. And so that is the simple fact. That is what has happened. That is where we are.
I think Jesse Waters is now not calling her Corinne Jean-Pierre. He's calling her Binder. He's like, but Binder says blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I'll allow that. And I want to use it, but I couldn't possibly just thieve it from him. I have to give him credit.
Yeah. And maybe Mitt Romney.
It would be fun to, in the future, if we have to have Corinne Jean-Pierre, let's have her original clip, but then let's just cut out all of the nonsense crap that she inserts into what she's actually saying. And just when you listen to the beginning here, this is a 37-second clip. Let's see how long it takes. Tell me when she starts to make the point.
I mean, look, just a couple of things. And really so surprised by the misinformation that's been out there around this. And I want to be very clear. Every year for the past several years.
Are we there now? Every year for the past several years?
There it is.
That's the
That's
point?
The start, yeah.
It was 11 seconds.
I was going to say maybe 15 seconds in.
Bologna sausage. Why does Binder have to repeatedly say, we've been clear on this. To be clear. Let me be clear. The more you have to say that, the less,
I think I know.
The less likely that you have effectively been clear.
I think I have a good answer for this, and I think it has to do with Binder. It's because when you know the answer, but you need to read it, you got to give yourself a couple seconds, and you got to go, well, there's a few things that I do need to say about this.
Are you pro at this?
Oh, yeah. I can tell you all kinds of ways to do that.
Watch Wiggins America at 12:45 every day.
Yeah, because when she asked me a question, I'm like, oh, yeah.
Do you study her?
No. She does it poorly.
Ryan's like game recognizes game.
Yeah, she needs to study me because you wouldn't even know I was doing it. I'm so smooth at it that I'm surprised you even noticed. But here we are. Studies game.
She says be clear. We've been clear. Every time she speaks. And it's like by virtue of you saying it, you haven't.
Right.
No, it makes me angry. The reason why it makes me angry, and I used to think this for Jen Psaki too, I couldn't tell if she was really good at her job or really bad at her job. And I think that Jen Psaki was really awfully good at her job, and I think that Binder is really bad at her job.
Yeah, there's no glossing, because all the press secretaries do this. They all have information in front of them. They want to quote some things. That's fine. But she's just really bad at it. And that's why she's got the nickname, is because she doesn't really have anything ready to go. She's just going to read the page.
Well, I remember watching Kayleigh McEnany do this. She had a binder too. During the question, she knew where the question was going, and you could watch her, and she was getting to the information, not an answer, not what she was going to read, but the information so she could deliver the stats.
The facts and the statistics. She didn't have an answer to read. She formulated the answer because she was, in fact, really good at her job. Is she on with us tomorrow?
Yep, tomorrow.
Yes.
Oh, nice plug, Brad.
Kayleigh McEnany.
Radio
Gosh,
stuff.
you know what you're doing.
That's what that feels like.
Yes,
See,
it really does.
Actual substance with Brad, and Ryan's just over here going like, well, the thing of it is, if I need to be more clear, I'll be more clear.
Yeah, but one thing I can do, I can recognize when somebody does it well. And I can tell you, man, Brad did a great job right there.
Because game recognizes
game.
That's how you know we're the hippest radio show in conservative talk.
Another
we
reason
say things like that. I'm meanwhile Googling it on Urban Dictionary.
Yeah, I don't know what this is. Another reason I think she has to look everything up is just like Joe Biden, where they have to be so particular about their messaging because it's substanceless. So he can't say illegal or he'll get hammered.
Right.
So he has to be very, very careful to use the word newcomer or migrant or whatever it is now. The same with Corinne Jean-Pierre, where she's not good enough to kind of fly. She's got to read the message exactly, or she knows she's going to get hammered because there's nothing really behind the message.
The hollow nature of this administration is jarring.
It's amazing
to know that the person, Joe Biden, the president of the United States, there is no singular policy There's no singular principle that guides where they are going on any particular issue. You really do have to wait and see what they're going to do with the next crisis that bubbles up, because it depends on the political climate of the moment. And they're finding themselves parsing the people who are supposed to be in the Democratic contingent. I mean, have I lost my mind? Didn't police officers used to be very blue-collar, blue voters?
Yeah, I mean, it was unions. So
And-
they were.
but I
they were
mean,
blue.
like-
yeah.
In the last 15 years, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
This is a new shift.
Yeah.
At the officer's funeral this weekend, and if you haven't seen the images from this funeral, you need to check them out because it is heartbreaking, but amazing to see the support for the officer who lost his life, Officer Diller, in the line of fire. And it's like weird. You don't even think you're in the line of fire when you're doing a routine traffic stop. But what you continue to hear from people is that no traffic stop is routine. You know that every time you pull someone over, you're putting your life on the line. And that's what happened to Officer Diller. These normal, reliable contingencies for political parties are being questioned. And you see that the Democrats have taken for granted a lot of these voting blocks and determined you're a member of this group, you will vote this way. And that is not necessarily the case. And my question is always, what are the Republicans doing to show up and work for those people who now might have just dipped a toe outside of I'm the 8th generation Democrat voter? These people are saying, listen, what's going on in New York City is a direct reflection of the Democrat policies that these people have run on and implemented. There is a place you can point to responsibility for a climate of crime that exists in places like New York and New York City. And the idea that, in 2020, this is 4 years ago. It is crazy to think that we are only 4 years removed from everything that came out of the wake of George Floyd and everything that was just applied to police officers en masse in the wake of what happened in the George Floyd situation, that we just decided collectively we're going to put this on police officers as a whole. And then you expect police officers to be like, Governor Hochul, come speak at this funeral. We'd love to have you. Letitia James. What? Like, what kind of absolutely arrogant, narcissistic, dumb butt do you have to be to think that you are going to request to speak at Officer Diller's funeral and that the people there are going to want to hear what you have to say? The level of detachment and hollowness is breathtaking for that type of a request.
On the part of the politicians.
Yes.
That story is incredible because, like you said, these are not typical, like, right-wing contingencies. And they just told the governor and the AG of the state, no, get out. That is bold. That is a huge, huge move that, like you said, a couple years ago, you would have never seen that happen. That has been a swift change.
A really dramatic element to it as well. And I mean, I don't know Kathy Hochul's heart. I know her policies, and I know that sucks. But the fact that cameras caught her getting told to take a hike is politically devastating for Kathy Hochul. That election was 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
New York does their big statewide elections the same time Illinois does, which is in the midterm year. So Kathy Hochul will be fine for another 2 years. And if you think about that, that means that New York will be potentially looking to hire or to elect a new statewide governor, statewide AG, whatever it might be, in the midst of a Donald Trump second term. Maybe. And I look at that and I think, well, a lot could happen between now and then. If it's in the midst of another Democrat term, Joe Biden gets reelected, Kamala Harris is the president in 2026, I think they might be in trouble. At least to get primaried, but from a moderate, common sense Republican who could maybe get elected in New York, like a Lee Zeldin or something like that. I mean, I feel like at this point in time, the left has gone so far away from common sense, the left side of the common sense spectrum, that if the Republican Party knew what they were doing, and I don't have the confidence that they do, if the Republican Party knew what they were doing, these places should be in play this November. That's the YouTube live chat poll for today. Will Trump win non-swing blue states, yes or no? And if you look, if you're joining us on the Annie Fry YouTube live chat to vote in today's poll, will Trump win non-swing blue states? 270 to win right now, 270towin.com is where you can follow along as well, has the Democrats with 251 electoral votes and Republicans with 270. Now, the website is 270 to win because you need 270 electoral votes to win. And they have it right now mapped out that the Republicans have 270 electoral votes with 17, is that right? 17 electoral votes?
Yes.
Up for grabs. They have 52 electoral votes that lean Republican. So those would be like the pink states. Pennsylvania and Georgia, North Carolina are all included in that. So those are not states that they're convinced are going to be dramatically Republican turnout, but they're saying North Carolina, Georgia, and Pennsylvania. And Pennsylvania is one that I consider to be right down central to just a hair on the blue side. They have Michigan going blue, Wisconsin going blue. Wisconsin's primary vote is today, and there is a uncommitted. It's not uncommitted, but it's the same thing as uncommitted. Wisconsin was incredibly close in 2020. They have that going blue. They have Colorado going blue, New Mexico going blue, Arizona and Nevada being toss-up states. If Arizona and Nevada both go to the Democrats and this map is the way it goes, Donald Trump is still the president. Is there a blue state that Donald Trump can win? Do you think so? Yes or no?
No, I'm a no. I guess it depends on how you define a blue state, because I saw some people saying, well, he could win Minnesota, for instance.
We don't.
Maybe
Minnesota.
Virginia.
Those are not swing states.
I don't call those. I don't even really. Yeah.
We said Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Nevada.
Okay. And if the other states are blue states, I still am going to say no, because I don't even think he's going to win all those swing states. Pennsylvania is one that I'm very skeptical that he's going to win. So I'm a no on this poll.
What do you think?
I'm looking at this map. A couple of states pop out to me. New Mexico pops out to me. It's a light blue state on this map. They are paying the price with the border. I also look up at Maine. Maine seems to be an odd place. I don't think it's going to be any major blue state like
it's a Susan Collins state. Do you want Susan Collins in the Senate or do you want another Democrat?
Right.
Those are your options. So what if Maine were to be red, it wouldn't look like Oklahoma being red, but it would be better than blue.
Yes. So it's states like that. Maybe Minnesota. It just depends on how everything goes with Israel, because there is a huge contingent of a huge Muslim population in Minnesota.
So you're not counting on the Republicans to turn Minnesota red.
I'm thinking people are staying home because they don't like what they're doing.
I don't think they stay home. I think they vote elsewhere. They have options.
Well, that too. But I mean, if they don't vote for Joe Biden, I think that has enough sway to throw it toward Trump. So those would be the states that I would say yes to, possibly.
So you're voting yes.
Yeah, I'd vote yes.
I think I'm a no. And it's, you don't have to win all the swing states to win a blue state, in my mind, at all. For the reasons you're just talking about in Minnesota, where maybe the Democrats contribute to a Joe Biden loss that defers to a Donald Trump win. I think that Trump wins Georgia this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's going to happen. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in Fulton County and to see how this continues to look like the circus that it is. But I don't know how it manifests itself, but I am excited for the time that Donald Trump and Governor Kemp effectively come together to get this country back on track, and mending of that relationship there, even if it's just for the sake of the country and not for the personal relationship, something there. Governor Kemp does just fine in Georgia. Georgia likes Governor Kemp. They don't like the election denier, Stacey Abrams. They, I probably the most frustrating thing to me in the entire 2020 election, outside of the way everything was handled, was how Donald Trump spoke about Georgia when everything was going on, and I think cost us at least one Senate seat in that runoff. That can't ever pass on the opportunity to remind you that Georgia voted on January 5th, and the next day was January 6th. And I think that knowing that the climate of the country was that they had just won we knew that they had won the House and they had just been given the Senate through Georgia, and where all of this was going on, that illustrates the temperament of the country in a way that I think a lot of people forget. I think Donald Trump wins Nevada. I don't know that he wins Arizona. Arizona is so weird. Arizona is such a. I don't think Carrie Lake helps anything. I think that she is on the opposite side of where, like, Donald Trump needs to come back to the middle and from a presentation standpoint, remind people of why they are voting not Biden and for Republicans. And I have not ever seen Carrie Lake effectively campaign outside of the extra Trump. Like she is very effectively on the other side, and Arizona didn't vote for Trump. I don't think Carrie Lake is an asset.
No, I actually could see a scenario where Trump would win Arizona, but Carrie Lake lose the Senate seat.
Good too. Yeah, that Arizona, you're right, is a weird state because when Republicans win there, and they had been for a long time, they were people like John McCain and Jeff Flake. These are not super, super conservative, definitely not MAGA Republicans. So that will be a weird one to watch. Rubin Gallegos, the Democrat there, keeps posting that he's down in the polls, but he could just be fundraising off of it too.
Let's see here. Kevin says, I also think talking about how positive it looks for Trump 9 months out is dangerous and pointless. It risks too much apathy happening in the mushy middle. I don't think that this is dangerous and pointless. It depends on how you handle the conversation. Are you talking about a guaranteed win for Donald Trump? I mean, good grief. Look at the polls and look how they're indicating Donald Trump is going to materialize in November. And then the follow-up question is, how confident are you that the election system is going to uphold what the polls say? And if you listen to this show, you know that I hate polls. And I think that they are used as an incentive for people. I think they're used to persuade people, not to inform people. But I think it's important to understand, where is the interest? Where do we focus our efforts to make sure that we do bring home a victory in November? I mean, Illinois, Chicago, the location of the DNC, the convention, the Democrat convention this summer, is Illinois going to go red? It is likely not going to go red. But it'll be interesting to see what kind of shift in mentality does take place in the state of Illinois, because the state could use some help in the makeup of its General Assembly. And if you want to give J.B. Pritzker a little bit of a check, you need to send more Republicans into Springfield. And that will be a reflection on Joe Biden, which will also be reflected in the election this November. So we want to know, do you think that Donald Trump is going to win non-swing blue states? I think he's going to win swing states. I don't think he's going to win necessarily all of them. Although I wouldn't be surprised if he wins Michigan. Watching what the auto workers unions are doing and saying, but also understanding where the actual union faithful, the workers, where their positions are, and how they have a good common sense perspective on the industry, where it's going, and how Joe Biden is kind of effectively trying to destroy it and totally upend it. I don't know if Michigan is as safe as maybe some suggest that it is. But this is how you hone in where you campaign and what you campaign on, because there are so many things afoot right now that need to be addressed politically. How do you speak on the issues that matter to the people? I'm just going to say it, that matter in this election. Because in Missouri, you guys are going to vote for Trump. In Illinois, they're going to vote for Biden. Both of those individuals, should they win, are going to need a Congress that's going to work with them. That's where the red state of Missouri and the blue state of Illinois are going to matter. Make sure you send back Congressman Mike Bost to Congress to make sure look at it. It's got a 1-seat majority right now, maybe. And who knows what kind of stupid stuff they're going to pull off between now and November. Get it together. Go tell us what you vote for. Will Trump win non-swing blue states? Yes or no? I'm a no on this. Ryan's a no on this. Brad is a possible yes.
Soft
A
yes.
yes, but a yes nonetheless. Let us know what you think and give us some comments. We'll read some of those before we wrap up the show and give you the results in about 30 minutes from now. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Jen Teskey, JenTeskeyHomes.com, looking to sell your house on the Illinois side of the river. Oh my goodness. When you meet Jen, you'll be like, okay, Annie, I get it. I understand. Now I know why Jen Teskey and RE/MAX Alliance is raved about the way that they are raved about. Jen knows the market. She is an advocate for you. She is going to give you truth and honesty, which is what you need to make sure that you do get the most out of that home selling transaction. And right now is a great time to enter the market. There is not nearly enough inventory out there for buyers. So if you want to sell, and of course, sell high, Jen Teskey is going to be the team that you need to make sure that that actually happens. She has decades of experience in this industry, and she also, this is just a highlight on her long resume, she has a certification in divorce real estate, specially trained to assist attorneys and divorce clients navigate the challenges of selling a home during a divorce. So if that is something that is important to you or to a loved one, make sure that they know that Jen Teskey can be your advocate to get the job done, which is generally speaking what you need in that case. Reach out to her by phone, 618-541-1010. You can text 618-541-1010 or reach out to my friend Jen Teskey with RE/MAX Alliance online at JenTeskeyHomes.com.
Baseball is back, basketball is heating up, and the NFL Draft is right around the corner. Listen to the latest on the teams you love with the free Odyssey app. The biggest sports radio stations in the country, providing unrivaled local coverage of their teams, all in one place. Exclusive interviews with players, coaches, and team executives, streaming live and always available on demand. Stay in the know with your favorite teams with Odyssey, AUDACY. Download the free Odyssey app today.
Our goal at NeoVitan is to make supporting your nutrition as easy as possible. That's why we created the NeoVitan monthly subscription. Just go to neovitan.com, choose your multivitamin, sign up, and we will do the rest. You'll receive your NeoVitan multivitamin every month with no long-term obligation. You can pause or cancel at any time, and shipping is free. Each NeoVitan multivitamin includes our physician-formulated proprietary blend for nutritional support you won't find anywhere else. Start supporting your nutrition the easy way with NeoVitan multivitamins. Sign up for a NeoVitan subscription today at neovitan.com.
Years, right? And right now, your home's value has never been higher, right? That means you're likely sitting on a small fortune in equity. Good for you. That's cash that you could use to help secure your retirement, solve all your financial burdens, enable you to travel, everything you want. The catch is, you're not ready to move. No problem. You don't have to with the TrueHold Sell and Stay Leaseback program. This is a genius financial strategy. You sell your home to TrueHold while its value is high. You bank all that equity in cash now, and you can stay as long as you like with an easy, affordable lease. And TrueHold pays property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. TrueHold unlocks your wealth without uprooting your life. Get a TrueHold offer now while your home's value is sky high. Call 1-855-300-9993. That's 1-855-300-9993. Or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out without moving out. TrueHold.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-652-5241 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-652-5241. That's 800-652-5241. What do you have to lose? Call 800-652-5241. Again, 800-652-5241.
Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan, they're there to help you be ready for the basic scenario that you are going to find yourself in when you go to purchase a home. You need a mortgage. You need to be in a position to be competitive. You need to be in a position to guide yourself through the process quickly so that you can be on your toes and make the offer that is going to help you get the job done. And Stewie's that person. I appreciate how Stewie has really constructed his entire business around old-fashioned, straight with the person whose name is on the front door, Stewie, getting the job done for your mortgage. And he's created the Bagel Loan, which is only available at Stewart's American Mortgage, to make sure that you don't have to pay any closing costs when you go through this mortgage process. Did you know that for a refi, you can also be qualified for a Bagel Loan? Don't pay any closing costs when you get the Bagel Loan with Stewart's American Mortgage. Call him or text him, 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. And ask him about the Bagel Loan. Tell him you heard about it on the Andy Fry Show, and you'll be well on your way. You can Google the Bagel Loan for more information, and MLS number 226715.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. If you're not sure who to call for air conditioning services, contact the team at Air Comfort Service. With 55 years of experience and thousands of 5-star reviews, you can trust them with the comfort of your home. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
When the radio is away, 97.1 can still play. If you have the Odyssey app, of course. Listen to any of your favorite hosts on 97.1 through your phone. On St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
I know you want to say it. This is the rhythm of the night.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
This is the rhythm of my life. This is the rhythm of the night. This is the rhythm of my life. This is the rhythm of the night.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Thanks for being with us this afternoon. Good to have you back, and thank you for giving me a day off yesterday. My kids were on spring break all last week, and yesterday was their last day, and I wasn't able to take any of the other days off with them. So yesterday I was able to do that and kind of recoup and recharge. I was very grateful for that. Thank you for giving me that time. You had Wiggins America, Ryan, at 12:45, and we went a little bit long with Jason Plummer because he was talking about the Prison Review Board catastrophe in the state of Illinois with J.B. Pritzker's policy on people basically not being held in prison when they're violent criminals. And this man, Cressetti Brand, was let out within 24 hours of being let out here in March. He went and fatally stabbed an 11-year-old child trying to get to his pregnant mother. It's just absolutely outrageous. You can check the Annie Fry Show podcast if you want to learn more about that. But you were giving us your health tips, and the people need to know if you have any more information.
Well, there are a couple more things that I wanted to get to, so thank you for this time. The other ones that I have yet to mention, and just if you didn't hear, the ones that I did mention is being around green spaces is good for your bones. So these are kind of things that you may not know. These are kind of off the radar things. Removing your makeup before you hit the gym is better for your skin. That was
for co-eds. For college-aged young.
Yeah, for
or
anybody
men, I
or
guess.
Brad or whatever. The fake sweet stuff, so artificial sweeteners, may be bad for your heart. So the ones that I have not mentioned are have fun being physical to reduce your risk of stroke. That one kind of is a surprise.
Have fun being physical?
So like do more physical activity and have fun doing it because then you'll do it more. Because it will reduce your risk of stroke, according to a new study published in the Journal of Neurology.
These are groundbreaking things. Don't eat artificial sweeteners.
Yeah.
Exercise, because it'll keep you from having a stroke.
I think they're a little bit surprising, other than the skin one from makeup before you hit the gym. They're a little bit surprising because you know that these things are good for you, but they're saying they're good for things you may not have known they were good for, like reducing a stroke. It says that according to a new study published in the Journal of Neurology, neurosurgery and psychiatry that looked at data from more than 750,000 adults engaging in some leisure time physical activity. It's associated with a lower risk of stroke, even for people who didn't meet the weekly activity guidelines. So if you're even getting 150 minutes or more of week of moderate intensity physical activity or 75 minutes of vigorous activity, your chance of a stroke goes down significantly.
Shocking.
So,
yeah. Be by green spaces. It'll help with the osteoporosis because
Exactly.
you'll be doing more exercise.
Exactly.
Exercise more because that'll help with stroke.
So you may be shocked to find out
Can't
that
wait.
exercise is good for you.
It's a good thing we revisited this.
It is good. The last one is, I would say, in the same category. You may want to increase your step count. Now, I understand that these are things that maybe you already know.
Did you vet this?
But
no.
Okay.
There's a lot of debate to how many steps you need to take.
Quick, Rick, valid question. How much did that study cost?
Which one? Because there's several.
Any of them.
There's
Were they
several
taxpayer
here.
funded?
Now, I don't know. They probably are because some of these are from the UK and they just socialize everything. The question is, how many steps per day do you need to be doing before you get to where they say you're getting some serious health benefits from? Do you know how many steps you do a day on a typical day?
I get 10,000.
Do you get 10?
It's an effort.
It's got to be. Do you keep track, Brad?
I have a counter on my phone, but I set my phone on the counter sometimes, and so it doesn't count
You
all my
don't know.
steps.
You don't know. I don't know that I get 10,000. I don't ever, though, check it on a typical
10,000
day.
is a lot of steps.
It seems like it would be.
You have to, I have,
It's an
especially with this
intentional
job,
thing.
you have to.
Be deliberate.
If I were to just come to work and go home and do nothing, I may not get 2,000 steps.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anything under 5,000 is considered sedentary.
Okay. Well, I'm probably doing less than 5,000. I don't know, though, because I only test it when we do things like go to a park together and do 30,000, which was insane.
If you can hang.
By the end of 30,000 steps 2 days in a row, I think I had Brad at one point knock on my calves to see that if there was any give. And there was none. It was like they were a door. They were made of wood. The third day of that trip, I think we did almost 20 too, didn't we? Or it was,
I think we did 30,000 all 3 days.
No, it was 30,000 for 2 days and then less than that the third day.
It's talking about Disney World.
Yeah, on our trip.
Almost a year ago.
Almost a year ago. Now, I will tell you, we were keeping track in Japan, and that was just, I wouldn't say completely normal because we were doing touristy stuff, but you do walk a lot more, and we were doing at least 20,000 steps a day every single day we were there. It says, though, that the typical is they say around 10,000 steps per day reduces the risk of death and cardiovascular disease, no matter how much time you spend sitting the rest of the day. But if you're seeking a step target, aim for 9,000. Seem like
Slacker.
Yeah. Aim for 9,000 because according to the study, walking 9 to 10,000 steps a day lowered the risk of dying, which we're all trying to avoid, by 39% and the risk of heart disease by 21%. I like the ones that just go, you know what, it'll reduce the risk of heart disease, but really what we're talking about is you not dying.
Right now I have 599 steps.
That's pretty good.
599
Oh, wait, I was thinking
steps?
5,000. No, that's not very good.
239. I didn't put my watch on till 11 o'clock this morning, but I didn't spend a lot of time physically moving around this morning.
So how do you get that up throughout the day then?
I go to the YMCA after this and walk on the track for an hour and 15 minutes.
Ah, good for you.
Yeah, you just got to be intentional about getting the steps in because our life doesn't it.
If I get to the Y with about 2,000 steps, it'll take me about an hour and 15 minutes. And I don't, depending on the day and how I feel, like today I might like run the long and walk the short side if I feel like it, but I don't care to do that. My kids play basketball and I walk and walk and walk and walk.
Do you do that every night?
I do that to get 10,000 steps. It depends on the day.
Wow. Yeah, that's impressive that you're actually seeking to do that because it seems to me like with the, everybody's schedules are so busy, but
2 days a week I go and I weight train for an hour and 7,500 is the minimum for weight training days. So if I'm actually physically spending 60 minutes actually working out, I don't care about the 10,000 as much, but the other days, and I get 2 rest days a week.
I don't know what our bump music out is. It's probably the same as it was coming in. But I can tell you
Nothing
that
compares to you.
whenever I hear that song, man, I just got to move. Whenever I hear
like this.
Really, it's whenever I hear any of Sinead O'Connor's songs, not just that one.
Sets the mood.
Whenever I hear Delight, Grooves in the Heart, man, I got to move. I got to move. You got it.
Yeah, I wish. What is it? What is the bump music?
So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's not bad.
Yeah, this has got good tempo.
This will get your steps in a little bit faster.
Yeah.
A good walking pace, like a 3.5, where it's just a little bit,
Yeah.
just a little bit short of a jog.
Ooh, this is right there.
Mm-hmm.
Was this slowed down?
For just for the sake of this segment, we went through the trouble.
Whenever I hear this song in my head, it's faster. But I could walk to this.
Just imagining him on the treadmill walking to this.
I had an idea for a video that we should shoot of you. I want you to try to squat in different offices here and see if you can take over people's jobs.
Oh, okay. Squat is in at their desk, not literally squat in there.
No, well, you can do whatever you want. You just got to do it for long enough that our overlords in our company come and say, "All right, you can have it."
I guess that's yours.
We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
The Retirement Advisory Group, phone call away. And when you call 314-993-9494 and you say, hey, heard about you on the Annie Fry Show. I need help with my retirement. They're going to be excited to talk to you. It costs you nothing to schedule an appointment with them to just sit down and have a conversation and say, here's where I am. And they say, here's what we can do for you. Have that conversation with no cost and no obligation. It's pretty basic, but it's a good start. And when you get to the point where you're at the end of your working career, or maybe one of you has quasi-retired and the other one is getting ready to retire, so you need to make sure that what you have put together for retirement is going to work its tail off for you, regardless of the ups and downs of the market. You want Thomas Helbig, Bob Kershaw, and Tammy Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group on your side, on your team. You call 314-993-9494 and you talk to them about how they can create a personalized structured income plan for you that you can count on, that you can rely on. That gives you the worry-free retirement you've always dreamt of. Reach out to the Retirement Advisory Group and set your appointment up today. You can do so by calling 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. Visit them online at retirementkey.com.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are now open for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. The winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Deadline to enter is the end of the month to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Enter now at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. You can't win if you don't enter at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
This station is now conducting a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test.
Okay, so you filed your taxes this year, but you know you have past IRS issues. And now the IRS letters are coming. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. Don't ignore those IRS letters. They're important and give you rights and deadlines to defend yourself. Waiting could cause you to lose those rights. Call the Lance Drury Law Firm now and let us help you get ahead of the IRS and defend your rights while you still have time. The Lance Drury Law Firm is located here in St. Louis, so take the first step and hire a tax resolution attorney. We've made it super easy to schedule your free consultation in person, or you can do a phone call and save travel time. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Drury Law Firm. Call today at 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120. Or go visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
When you're selling your home, you want the most money and the least hassle. That's exactly what you get when you work with my friend and trusted realtor, Gloria Liu, with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Mark Cox here. Selling your home is one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make. That's why having an expert on your side is crucial. Right now, other agents know that some sellers will choose the agent that tells them the highest price. This can be a dangerous strategy. Most of the time, it ends up being an empty promise. Gloria doesn't make empty promises. She makes guarantees in writing. It's simple. Gloria will guarantee to sell your home at your agreed-to price and time frame, or she'll buy it. Guaranteed in writing. Take it from me. Pick up the phone and call Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or visit her online anytime and tell her you heard Mark Cox talking about it. GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
More good news for Frederick Roofing, voted best roofing company by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
314-645-2000.
We've given our opinions on the matter. We want to know what your opinion is. Will Trump win non-swing blue states? Yes or no? Let us know why you believe what you believe in the Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll. It is 2:47. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. I would personally like to thank Jon Stewart and his entire team for gifting me my monologue this afternoon, and it's really good stuff on the media. We're going to get to it right after Fox News. Hang in there.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Instagram at The Annie Fry Show.
I wanted to bring up something I heard it Sunday morning during the interruption of Transgender Day of Visibility when I was in church on Easter Sunday.
That's how you celebrated.
Yeah, I'm inclusive.
Yeah, good
I
job.
decided to include Jesus on Easter.
It's a novel idea.
Yeah, all kinds of kinds. And then I heard this point also. Charlie Kirk was making it in one of his versions of the kind of changed my mind, which is not his thing, but he does those things.
Oh, yeah.
Is it Turning Point?
Yes, Turning Point.
So Charlie Kirk was sitting there, and someone comes up and he's like, "So you call yourself a Christian? You believe in the Bible?" And I mean, this guy looked like he was going to try to land a punch, and you kind of think that this person is going to challenge him in a way that is going to wrap around to a point. You're setting somebody up to say something, and then you can get them on that point that they made with your counterpoint that you've set up. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the account of the resurrection, the idea that women were the first ones and the only ones to witness Jesus's resurrection is, if you were going to make that up, you wouldn't make up the idea that the women were there. Like, women were second-class citizens, didn't have the right to be represented the way men did. And so it wouldn't make sense that the account, if you were going to fabricate it, you wouldn't fabricate it in a way that elevated women. But the women were there. The women were the ones who noticed what was going on, and they were an important part of the story. Charlie Kirk, so that was said something about that was discussed in the sermon on Sunday, and I had heard that point before, but I think it's an interesting one, that the idea that the way that all of this came together, that part of the resurrection story elevates women in a time where women did not have those types of rights or recognition. In addition to that, it's very important to understand in the course of time that Jesus is telling stories that he gives women his time. And he acknowledges women in a way that was not socially or culturally normal or even acceptable. And so there are people who advocate for the idea that Jesus and the story of Jesus, because there are definitely people who believe and acknowledge that Jesus existed, but they just don't believe that he's their savior. But as a historical figure, that Jesus is that person that really did exist, and so on and so forth. But the idea of his story and his life acknowledging women and putting women in a position where they were respected counter to what society did actually is kind of a first account of women being given rights that they hadn't been given before. And that kind of has me thinking this weekend in a non-religious sense, but just the idea that for almost all of time, I mean, the understanding that black men in the United States of America voted well before white women ever did. In our segregated history, we have elevated from the place that they had been wrongly denigrated black men to the place of having a valid thing to contribute before any white women were allowed to contribute in an equal way. I think that that's interesting. And in the climate that we're in right now, where men are claiming to be transgender and participating in women's sports and just absolutely dominating every single time. There was a sprinter who was doing hurdles, and they showed the difference between the hurdle that women would go over and the hurdle that men would go over. It's incredible to see the difference of those two. Should he be competing as what he was born as, a man, it would be this, but since he's competing with women, it's that, and he, could destroy the women that he's competing with. And I just have to ask the question, how is it that women, we're like just about 100 years into having a say in things, being able to vote. 100 years. And we're near 2024. Why is it that it took that long for women to be seen even remotely as equal? It's because we're the physically weaker sex. Biologically, if we were actually equal, biologically, scientifically, as strong as men, as physically capable as men, men would not be able to overpower us for so long. If we were exactly the same, why were women given rights? It's because civilized society identifies that our biological differences should not eliminate women from the conversation, because mentally, our intellect, we can process things in different ways, but women are not intellectually inferior. But we are physically not as strong as men. And men could not have rights that women didn't have for so long if they weren't physically stronger. I mean, it really just comes down to that. Men could force women into submission. And it took us that long to figure that out. And I just think it's kind of interesting that it goes all the way back to the story of Jesus saying, no, women get a place.
Yeah, it's just kind of fun now that men have realized, you know what? Women have all these rights. Let's show them what we're made of again.
Yeah. Let's put them back where they belong. I mean, that's kind of what it feels like.
It really does. I mean, I'm joking, but that is kind of what it looks like.
The YouTube live chat poll for today, will Trump win non-swing blue states? 61% of you say yes.
Wow.
Woo!
Okay.
I'm a no, but I'll have what you're having.
Yeah, me
I'll
too.
take
I'm a
it.
no, but I'll believe you when I see it.
Thank you for voting today, and check out the Annie Fry podcast to hear Dave Rubin and Jason Plummer. And keep it right here on St. Louis's home for conservative talk, 97.1 FM Talk. Mark Reardon, next.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's corporate cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor, and Ramp software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now, get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/free. Ramp.com/free. RAMP.com/free.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Point Pest Control. I posted something on Facebook because I laughed out loud in my basement. I was cleaning out my basement, and my kids, I don't know what game it came from, but there was a little card from a game, and it says, "This is a spider," and it was a picture of a spider. And I joked, that's the first spider I've seen in my house, especially in my basement, since last fall when Point Pest Control came out and made them dead gone by. That's the important part here. Spiders be gone. I called Point Pest Control, and they took care of the problem for me. They are now coming out quarterly to keep up with the issue, and they told me, Annie, you see a spider, you see one, you call us back, we'll take care of it. I trust Point Pest Control, and I'm so glad that they came and took care of that because I can trust my kids, my babies, to be downstairs. I don't have to worry about them being around the wolf spiders that were down there and super creepy. Make them be dead gone by. And mention Annie when you call 636-798-0023 for your ants, spiders, crickets, mice issues, whatever it is. And Point Pest Control is going to help you with it. It's Point with an E. Call them at 636-798-0023, pointpestcontrol.com.
I have a question regarding air conditioning. What temperature outside does it need to be before you turn, or your spouse or your dad or mom, grandma, grandpa, or whoever is in charge of the thermostat? What temperature outside is your air conditioning turned on? My house, it's when it gets over 70, 72 degrees, the air conditioner is without a question coming on, especially if it's 70 or 72 degrees in the evening when I'm getting ready to go to bed. I need it at 68. That's me. How about if I told you there was a way that if you did call me and I showed you how you can keep your temperature where you want it, where you're comfortable, and maybe not spend any more? If you're interested, then call me. It's Bart Inman, 314-293-2600, or bartinman.com, plus 0% for 60 months on the brands that we offer you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been hurt on the job, you need the best. Onder Law. Hurt on the job? Call Onder Law today for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning